As there's a slog sweep out towards square leg, it should be out, it is. Neser again. Bowls him! Fielders are at long on and at mid-wicket, but that's down the leg side from Sultan, swept away by right for 4 runs. Bowls driven it through the offside. That's probably the shot of the day from Sussex. As Dowswick charges in, and that's gone in a similar position in the ground. It's run away for 4 runs backward of square. In towards us, Bowls to right, who cuts and might have found a gap there. Dowswick has got a long way to go and won't make. Is built nicely today, as that's again short outside off stump and smashed away for 4 runs. And Salter bowls right, gives him the charge and drives straight, and that really scorched over the ground. Lloyd into bowl, cuts between point and third man for 4 runs. Lloyd bowls again, that's again cut and again just wide of third man. Charging in, bowling, hit up towards long on, and that is a fine catch. 12th as Wheel bowls, and that's smashed away between long on and, oh no, 4 it is, sorry, chopped away on the offside. Short ball into Boparu, goes the big shot, he's got right underneath it and could be caught at deep mid on and is caught. Sussex need more than that, as Alsop smears it towards the boundary but is caught on the rope. Salter in, this one's up in the air, has he got all of it? Yes he has. Harrison Ward as Salter bowls, and should be a stumping, it is! As Wheel bowls up in the block hole, bowl him, Yorked him. And Dowswaite is into bowl, that's a big club up toward. As Dowswaite bounds in, bowls, oh that's big as well. As Finn is into bowl, Lloyd smashes this one over mid-wicket, 1-2 bounces, 10 for naught. Finn into Lloyd, who drives and is caught at cover. Facing up to Tamal Mills and is dropped at slip first. Finn into bowl, and that's smashed by Northeast up towards the crowd and is caught in the crowd. Rashid bowls short and Ingram works it through the offside. At least a couple of runs. It may run away from the boundary, yes it does. One of whom is really in close as Ingram cuts and he's got that one past short third man. That one is running away. Races towards us. Bowls, point by Northeast, picked up beautifully, and that one is struck to Ingram, who slams that one through the covers for 4. Absolutely just about afloat as Mills bowls and Ingram pulls. Oh, that's beautifully placed by Colin Ingram. Kapara bowls, swung away by Ingram. Has he bisected the fielders? Oh, just about. Middle order. Broken bowls. Northeast could be caught. No, he's managed to get enough on it. It's sailed past mid-on. As Mills is in to bowl to Ingram, who drives over mid-off, is up in the circle, 1 bounce forward, a long off. Bowls, short, cut up towards third man, should be caught. He is caught. Northeast goes for 35. Being able to get really away, as that's hammered through the offside, through by Carlson, that's nicely played. Rawlins bowls, Carlson drives powerfully straight down the ground. Will he get 4? Yes he will. 118 for 2 in the 16th. Next delivery, Ingram hoists high, straight and handsome into the side screen. Shot tactics from Sussex. Carlson's hit that one a long way up in the air. He should be caught by Boparu, who's underneath it at cover and does take the catch. Into bowl, short flayed away towards point. Is he going to be out? He is. Byram has gone to Dowswaite, who plays it to backward point, and it's well stopped, no run. And Mills is into bowl. Dowswaite's hammered that one a long way up in the air. Will he get away with it? Yes he has. It going for 6 into the side screen. Para bowls, Ingram slams that one up towards long on, and is he caught? Yes, it's flicked back inside, and Rashid holds on to it. Into bowl to Horton, who is caught at the wicket trying to force off the offside. Bowls. Dowswaite swings, clubs it up towards mid-wicket. It's 6. It's over Rashid's head. To Dan Dowswaite. Up in the block hole. Just the single there, I think, towards long on. No, they won't risk the second as Bapara. Finn bowls. James Wheel swings and wins it for Glamorgan with an over to spare. Wheel hits his first ball for 6. Colin, congratulations on the half-century and on the victory. How easy or difficult was getting to that target of 150?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, just great to get a win. I think a lot of confidence after our 4-day win during the week. So, came in and I always feel like 150 can be a tricky total, like you say. Somewhere along the line you have to put your foot down, but it's close and you sort of just want to get there. So, I thought it was a good all-round team performance, and really glad to get the result.
As for yourself, nice to feel the ball coming out the middle of the bat with the white ball as well as the red one.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time in the middle in the last while. I think definitely benefited from that, and they've got a really useful attack in Rashid Khan and Mills bowled some really quick balls tonight. So, or this afternoon. So it was just nice to sort of spend some time there and make some good decisions. And I thought Sam North East batted beautifully as well, and that partnership sort of really set us up.
Maybe luck on your side that Mills was a bit quick for the slip fielder as well as yourself with his first ball.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and after that it flowed nicely. But some days you just need that.
And 4 wickets then going in the 17th and 18th overs. You were back in the pavilion at that point, or in the dressing room. What were your feelings when Dan had to take it on? 18 needed off the last 2.
Yeah, I think someone like Dan's been working really hard on his finishing capabilities, and we saw it this afternoon. So really chuffed for him. And I mean, James walked in and whacked his first ball at the ground. So like I said, there's a nice confidence building amongst the group, and it was really nice to see them do that, and they'll take a lot of confidence out of it as well.
And it was when you really needed at the stage of the competition to stay in contention, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. I still feel we haven't quite put it together completely. So a little bit of confidence from this win, and we can get on a roll, and you never know.
Very good evening and welcome to Sophia Gardens here on BBC Sport Online and on the Glamorgan and Middlesex websites for this T20 Blast game. Vital for both sides at this stage of the competition. The loser tonight will face a real stretch to go through to the quarter-finals. Middlesex won 4, lost 6. Glamorgan won 3, lost 5 and 2 no results, so it's effectively the same record, 8 points. And the news is that Glamorgan have won the toss and decided to bowl first on a pitch which is unchanged from Sunday afternoon. There's one change in the Glamorgan side with Michael Hogan fit again after COVID, and he replaces James Wheel. So the Glamorgan side: Lloyd, Northeast, Ingram, Carlson, Byram, Douthwaite, Horton, the wicket-keeper, Neser, Salter, Sisodia and Hogan. And Middlesex are unchanged from Sunday's win over Kent. They line up Eskenazi, Holden, Cracknell, Simpson, the keeper, Davis, Holman, Green, Anderson, Helm, Wallaluita and Behrendorff, the Australian quick. So our summariser this evening is the Hampshire and former Glamorgan batsman Aneurin Donald. Aneurin, 2 pretty match sides out here tonight?
Yeah, that's what the table says so anyway. No, it should be a good game. As you mentioned, it's going to be a long stretch. Whoever loses this game to try and get back into the quarter-final mix, so both teams got a lot of play for tonight.
The teams coming down the steps then. Umpires this evening: Ian Blackwell and Billy Taylor. Glamorgan coming out in their usual navy and daffodil gold strip, Middlesex in the pink shirts, and it's a lovely sight this evening with thousands of kids in Iron.
I think you're right with the thousands. You can certainly hear the atmosphere in tonight. It's always a nice touch to see the crowd relatively full, especially on a Tuesday night, so should be a good evening for us.
So our commentator this evening is Fionn Wynne of the BBC, but also in her spare time when she gets any, opening the bowling for Wales women. Fionn, welcome, over to you.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for the plug. Yeah, definitely 2 evenly matched sides here tonight. Glamorgan opting to bowl first after their successful chase against Sussex just a few days ago. And Michael Hogan, of course, to boost the ranks, who's having an excellent Blast season so far. The leading wicket taker, of course. And it looks like the other Michael Neser, is going to bowl the first over.
Eskenazi on strike here. He's been a big part of their T20 for the last few years. He had a great season last year and is flying again. That strike rate of 172 really stands out at the top here.
Bad,
so I think he'll go pretty hard here. Neser's certainly the pick of the bowlers. Last time I was up in Cardiff to watch that Surrey game, but hopefully the wicket's probably going to play a little bit truer than that day.
Yes, and he's got a deep square leg, which is a pretty short boundary on that leg side, you would say, and a deep point as well, the 2 fielders outside the circle. So
very fashionable field at the minute.
Yeah, pretty classic in T20. And here he comes. Neser's in now for the first ball, and it's defended down to short, third man. They take a single, so Middlesex off the mark straight away, 1 for none. Tidy start from Neser as expected.
Nice to see the young Horton get a go again tonight. Obviously Chris Cook, I think, struggling with a calf injury, I believe, still soon. So nice to see him get a go. I haven't seen much of him play.
Yeah,
it's nice to see a young Welshman go.
He got a difficult start with the bat against Sussex, got a duck, which is not ideal in that mad scramble of 4 wickets in 2 overs.
We've all been there.
But he kept well, got his first dismissal as well. So here comes Neser now for the second ball to Max Holden. And it's clipped off his hip, well stopped by Prem Sisodia there at short fine leg. Again, just another single. So we've got right-hand, left-hand combination for Middlesex, which is very effective at the top of the order. So the fielders just shift around now to accommodate for the right-hand Eskenazi back on strike. Interesting
to see Glamorgan sticking with the 2 spin option here as well. That slightly smaller leg side boundary, they're really sticking with these 3 seamers. So there's a lot of pressure on the big guns to go again well here.
And Neser again now. And he bowls this wide of the off stump. Eskenazi has a flash and a miss. Some oohs and ahs, but probably wasn't actually that close to the edge.
Can't tell from up here.
No.
As long as the shouts are
Typical
good.
bowler's reaction. Yeah, with the left-hand, right-hand combination, of course, you can have that shorter boundary to target on each side, so it's going to be a challenge for the spinners in particular, you'd say.
Yeah, certainly something Middlesex have done throughout the comp. Their batting order has been relatively flexible with lots of left-handers, so I'm sure they'll stick with it throughout.
Neser, and again now short back of a length, and it's just poked down to deep point. Again, another single, so tidy start here from Neser in the opening few balls.
I think Glamorgan will be licking their lips to chase a score down this wicket. Obviously, they've had a few tough starts on some interesting wickets up here in Cardiff. I think they'll be confident in their chasing ability here. Obviously, Sam North East has been really the glue in that chase. So if they can get a few wickets again early up top with Hogan and Neser to do the damage, I think they'll be confident of taking on this Middlesex side.
Neser charges in. Back of a length, and that's well worked into the gap on the leg side. Kieran Carlson comes round from deep square leg, and they take 2, so the score moves on to 5 for none. 1 ball remaining of the first over.
Big puff of dust there from the used square being thrown in from the deep boundary. Obviously a technique that is largely deployed in white ball cricket these days. They're not worried about swinging up top. We're trying to get as soft as possible, as quickly as possible.
They don't last long, those white balls,
no,
do they?
especially at the height of summer.
Yeah. Last ball of the over, then Neser bounding in, full, and they take a quick single to cover, and they make it pretty safely in the end. So 6 off the first over, a very nice start there from Michael Neser, on the money as ever.
Very nice. Yes, that's as we mentioned there, Eskenazi holding probably the highest strike rate in the game. They were very watchful that first over, but I'm sure it looks like Andrew Salter's on, the helmet's on. This is going to be an interesting move.
Yeah, Glamorgan have swapped round their bowling in the power play. There have been occasions when they've gone all seam with Neser, Hogan and Wheel, but with Hogan absent, they brought a bit of spin into the first 6, and it looks as though they're going to continue that way.
Yeah, I think they're pretty confident in both Prem and Salts in the first 6, which should give them a little bit of flexibility. Again, playing with the 3 out-and-out seamers plus a bit of David Lloyd, I think that just gives them a little bit of flexibility through the middle and back end by deploying a couple of spin overs up top. Interesting field here. No straight man up. Mid on and mid off are both up in the ring, so it's going to be interesting to see if Maxi Holden takes them on.
Salter is into Holden, who drives his first ball out through the covers, picks up the single with Kieran Carlson sweeping out towards the boundary. Glamorgan will need to take their catches this evening, as a couple went down on Sunday that you wouldn't normally expect, as Middlesex move on to 7 after 7 balls, and Salter comes over the wicket to the right-handed Eskenazi. Strike rate of 172 going into this game, which is pretty powerful. The batting average of 31 as well. Salter then is into Eskenazi, who works that on the leg side for a single. Carlson again the fielder. I suppose this is typical visiting team batting first, just having a few balls to have a look at it.
Yeah, certainly. I know when Hampshire we came down, we certainly looked at the scores across the year, and
Salter bowls and strikes Holden on the pads. Appeals for LPW, not out.
Yeah, it's certainly the scores have varied so much this year. I think certainly the way the away teams come here is to kind of keep an eye on those first few overs, try and really assess, and then communicate that as well as you can to the dugout. But I'm sure we'll see them catch on here and start going a bit harder very soon.
Salter bowls, Holden sweeps, but has been picked up by Sisodia at short fine leg. Salter getting away with that one slightly. It did drift towards leg stump.
Yeah, I think so. I think Maxi Holden favours the sweep, so that's the ball he's looking for. So disappointed he couldn't get that away, but a good start from Salts here. If he can finish off this over, keep it low, he'll be very very happy with these power play overs.
2 off the first 4 balls here on BBC Sport Online and the Glamorgan website, as Salter bowls to Holden, who drives gently to cover. Lloyd fields, whips his throw in, but Eskenazi is safely home. 9 without loss. I think Hampshire probably had the most questionable one-day pitch that we've had so far.
We can still see the half and half, as we like to call it, that evening, still lasting on that square. So, yeah, the Cardiff wickets, I think, have been a little bit up and down this year, but they can certainly produce some good ones in white ball cricket.
Here's Salter then to Eskenazi, who goes for the sweep shot, and he's nailed it this time, and it's got enough behind it to run away to the fine leg boundary. And the first boundary of the game then, as Middlesex, despite that, they only took 7 off the second over. They're 13 without loss after 2.
Yeah, nice shot there from Eskenazi, just paddling it away between that gap. The square leg was up and the 45, so I think Salter will be pretty disappointed he couldn't close out that over, but Glamorgan will be certainly very, very encouraged by this slow start.
You see it so often, don't you? 4 or 5 good balls, and then the batters know that they've got to try and get something off the over from the last ball. Happens quite a lot. And change of bowling straight away. Michael Hogan back in the team after missing out for a few games with COVID, so straight in for the third over. And he's in now, bowling to Holden, who dabs it on the offside. Salter picks up at point, just a single.
Yeah, that slip came out pretty quickly for the seamers as well.
Doesn't have to be much out there, does there?
No, it doesn't. And I think more often than not, he's normally in there for a couple of balls to see if it swings, and very quickly goes into that defensive mid-wicket position. So Hogan will just be looking to dot up again here and build some pressure.
Yeah, still a deep square leg and a deep point protecting those bigger square boundaries here at Sapphire Gardens. So Hogan's in now. And Eskenazi goes hard, and it's hit straight to mid-on. Glamorgan have their first wicket. Middlesex are 14 for 1. Michael Hogan strikes with his second ball, and it's the dangerous Steve Eskenazi that's gone. That is a huge wicket for Glamorgan. Yeah, massive wicket. The captain gone there. Eskenazi's really been their guy the last few years. I think they'll be very pleased with that start. And just that little bit of pressure, it doesn't seem too much on the scorecard, but certainly the way Eske's been playing this year, it wasn't the pace he wanted to go at. But yeah, so who's coming out here? The way he was just like Cracknell, miming with his bat there, as if the ball might have got a little bit stuck in the pitch. It seemed to take a long time to get to Dan Douthwaite at mid-on. He was almost down, for a few seconds before actually taking the ball, trying to work out which position to get his hands into. It was a comfortable catch in the end, but just wonder whether that's stuck in the pitch. Maybe a bit of pace off from Hogan, but it was well executed and drew the false shot. Yeah, I think Salt's got a few to hold as well, so I don't think it's going to be a straightforward wicket, but certainly I think they're going to be looking more towards the 160 mark than they are below it tonight. But as you know, at the Swalek Stadium here, these short straight boundaries, you can really catch up at the end, so it'll be interesting to see the way they play out these next few overs. And it is Joe Cracknell who's in at number 3. Middlesex 14 for 1. Hogan just adjusting his field as deep square leg moves to deep mid wicket. And Hogan's in now to Cracknell. And it's a full delivery, driven nicely, but again, just a single down to Kieran Carlson at deep point. So Cracknell's off the mark straight away. Max Holden back on strike, who's someone you know well, Naya. Yes, I've spent a bit of time with Max over the years, not for a little while now, but certainly through the England age groups. He's always been a very good player. I believe he's got a T20 100 actually in this format, even though he's been a little bit in and out over the sides the last couple of years, but he's starting to become a senior figure in this Middlesex batting lineup. You could do with 100 today. And here's Hogan now into Holden, and it's clipped off his legs. No run. Alex Horton collects the ball there again, maybe just missing out there on potentially being able to clip that down to the boundary. Hogan just losing his line a little to the left-hander. There haven't been too many loose balls, but they certainly haven't quite been put away yet. It'll be interesting to see as these batters get in to really see how this pitch is going to play, but certainly a good start by Glamorgan. They'll be pleased with this. Middlesex 15 for 1 in the third over. Hogan in now to Holden, and that is clipped off his legs onto the leg side. Kieran Carlson collects. He's been busy out on that boundary tonight, as Kieran Carlson, as he ever so often is. But again, just a single, just the one boundary so far. Yeah, no damage done. I think they'll be looking for a couple of big shots in the coming balls. I know Cracknell is again a very quick starter and can play some big shots. They'll be looking to hold just the top of the stumps like Hogan has been done years after year, just being consistently around that off stump mark. Last ball of the third over. Hogan into Cracknell, and he clips off his hip for a single down to Sisodia at short fine leg. The throw comes in, but it's a comfortable single again in the end. So Middlesex move on to 17 for 1. A successful over for Michael Hogan, taking that huge wicket of Steve Eskenazi. And it's not looked too easy for the batting side. You can kind of see why Glamorgan chose to bowl first, having won the toss.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's just holding, just sticking in the wicket a little bit. Again, I think the play of tonight is going to be to try and take it deep and see how much he can catch up with these relatively small dimensions. Another changing bowl in Prem's on here to bowl, so sticking with spin, but the other variation they've got on the side.
So Glamorgan using 4 different bowlers for their first 4 overs, as Sisodia, who's taken 8 wickets at 29, economy rate the best in the side, 7.34.
Yeah, he's quickly become quite a big part of this Glamorgan white ball side. He's very dependable, and again another good use in the first 6 overs.
Here he is then, into bowl, driven out on the offside. In fact, that's through the offside, and it's just raced away to the boundary at point from Joe Cracknell, which shows you, because he didn't particularly look to strike that hard, that how short that side of the ground is.
Yeah, absolutely, and he just bounced it into the square. Obviously, after a couple of weeks finally of some decent weather, it looks relatively hard, so that's raced away past that 5-man offside ring. So Cracknell is on to 6, 21 for 1. Sisodia bowls down leg side wide, 22 for 1. So the outfielders at mid-wicket, and long on down beneath us. Yeah, slight over adjustment from Prem, but certainly shows the way he wants to bowl here. He's going to try and fire it in again to that knee and hip region.
Get them hitting towards those outfielders on the leg side, which is just what Cracknell does, driving up to Hogan at long on, who lobs it in. Back to the bowler, 23 for 1. The floodlights on, as they usually are from the start, just to ease the transition from day into night cricket. But a bit of blue sky still above us. A little bit of light wispy cloud as well. Very pleasant evening as Sisodia bowls. Holden back on his stumps, plays on the leg side, and will take just a single up to wide long on as the throw comes in to Alex Horton for 24 for 1 Middlesex.
Yeah, Prem likes to again stay around to the left-handed batter, so I think when Maxie gets back on strike, he's going to be looking for that sweep to the short side pretty quickly.
Sisodia to Cracknell, who drives into the offside and through the offside. David Lloyd dived but couldn't get a hand on it, and that's raced away for the second boundary of the over, and Sisodia having trouble with the short boundary against the right-hander as Cracknell pierces that inner ring for the second time this over. Stays with his outfielders on the leg side though for the time being. 28 for 1. That's flat and pulled away. Oh, that's a dot ball, and Sisodia getting away with it as Cracknell hit it straight to northeast at backward square.
Yeah, they've pretty much got 2 leg side 45s in for Prem. He bowls so quickly, they tend to be lap sweeps rather than hard sweeps, so I think he's got away a little bit there with an over adjustment.
Last ball of the over, driven on the offside, but straight to Lloyd at cover, and Sisodia pulls it back slightly with 2 dot balls, but still 11 off the over, and Middlesex 28 for 1 after 4 here on BBC Sport Online.
Yeah, Cracknell just released a little bit of pressure there with some nice shots through the offside. Hopefully Middlesex will be hoping that gives them some sort of momentum to get going towards the back end of this power play.
It's raced away to the boundary, didn't they? Those 2 drives.
It's not very far out there at all.
No,
65 metres, more than likely.
Possibly less than that. On the pavilion side.
Towards where all the kids are as well, as you can hear in the background.
And it's going to be Michael Neser to bowl his second over, so lots of chopping and changing from Glamorgan with their bowlers as he bounds in powerfully, and that's clipped by Holden nicely into the leg side. Again, Kieran Carlson picks up and fields, and it's just a single.
Yeah, Kieran's been very busy out there as he's got all sorts of strapping on. He's got arms, sleeves, tubey grips and bits on his fingers, so I think he must be in the wards a little bit, but he's certainly one of the better fielders in the Glamorgan side, so he tends to be in the hot spots.
Seems to be everywhere, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he tries to be.
Yeah. And just a slight adjustment to the field as mid-wicket comes in on the single. So here's Neser again, and that's defended test match like, back to the bowler, bang on the money.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple for these Glamorgan seamers up top. They seem to get a little bit of movement out of this pitch, so I think they don't try and get too sexy, as very much slam the middle of the wicket and try and hit the top of the stumps before. I'm sure plans will change a bit later on, but yeah, simple cricket tends to be the best cricket most of the time.
And Neser again now. Middlesex 29 for 1. And he pulls, Cracknell pulls down to square again. That's straight to square leg for 4. That short boundary once again. The bowler's just struggling to contain it with these just 2 fielders allowed out. There was a man out there, but it went very fine between short fine leg and square leg.
It's almost a sweep shot there. I think Cracknell obviously predetermined that to try and access that small boundary, but it was very much off the top of the stumps. Good shot there to release some pressure again.
So Neser's in again now, back of a length, and a swing and a miss from Cracknell. Missed out there. That was quite short and wide outside the off stump. He was eyeing up another boundary there, but Neser gets away with it a tad.
Yeah, again, I think that's going to be the adjustment throughout the evening to try and favour that slightly longer side. It's not massive at the side away from the pavilion, but certainly gives them a little bit more breathing room.
Neser now again, the 5th ball of the over into Cracknell, who defends solidly once again. So this is tied. It's nice stuff this on Neser. He did go for that boundary, but you do expect that in the power play. So to pull it back with a couple of dot balls, he's done very well to recover.
Yeah, again, a few big dots there. I think that's Cracknell now. He's faced 3 dots and obviously hit that one boundary, so he's 4 off 4 balls. So Neser will be, again, relatively pleased with this. I think, the key throughout this evening is if they can close out over as well and keep it to a single roll and a boundary. I think the Glamorgan bowling attack will be very pleased.
Last ball of the 5th over now. Middlesex 33 for 1. What's Cracknell going to do? He clips it into the leg side for a single to mid-wicket and retains the strike. So no fireworks from the end of the over. It's a very tidy over from Michael Neser. And it's going to be Joe Cracknell on strike. So yeah, just frustrated a little bit with a few dot balls there, but it's good power play from Glamorgan so far. They'll want to finish it off well.
Yeah, looks like they've gone back to their banker and Michael Hogan here. Their helmet hasn't come out to the keeper, so again, I think it's relatively even Stevens here. I think Glamorgan will be pretty happy with the run rate, but certainly with only 1 wicket down, I think Middlesex will be looking to really take on these straight boundaries throughout the middle overs.
Yeah, Glamorgan could do with a wicket or 2. Middlesex relatively content. And Aaron Donald, Fionn Wynne and myself, Nick Webb, here on the BBC commentary. Also available on the Glamorgan Cricket live stream. As Hogan runs in away from us at the Cathedral Road end and bowls, and I think that's hit Cracknell on the thigh. They go through for a leg by as the ball trickles down into the gully. 35 for 1 Middlesex.
Yeah, just still looking to pick up the pace of the wicket, these Middlesex batters, but again, with this being the last over the power play, I'm sure they'll be looking to cash in and take some momentum going into the end of that power play.
Hogan bringing old school virtues into T20 cricket as he's in to bowl, or not, to Holden. Oh, hang on, was he not satisfied with it? I think he was checking his field there, wasn't he, to make sure he had to everyone inside apart from the 2.
He's been around the traps long enough. He's not going to be bowled to something he's not comfortable with. False start.
Outfielders at square leg and backward point on the ropes as Hogan bowls and beats the outside edge of Holden's bat as it sizzles through to Alex Horton behind the wickets.
Yeah, again, just looking like there's a little bit of help from this wicket, even 6 overs in with this slightly older Kookaburra ball, but again, I think if there's anyone in the land to get a bit of use out of a wicket, it's probably Neser and Hogan.
41-year-old Michael Hogan stepping down from pro cricket at the end of the season as he hits Holden on the pads. Might have been a little inside edge, was there? There was certainly no appeal. Yeah, just inside edge on the pad, and they've gone through for a single.
I'm sure everyone here will be sad to see Hose go. He's been such a servant over the years and their banker throughout, and he's certainly going out on top. He hasn't lost a yard or a step, so hopefully be sent off in some good form. Can be looking through to the quarterfinals ahead, hopefully.
Hogan is into bowl. Cracknell swings that away down towards fine leg. That's the first maximum of the evening. It's spilled in the crowd, I think.
Poor technique back there.
It was a big swing. It was down leg side and really helped on its way, and Cracknell getting most of the bat on that first maximum.
Another good shot from Cracknell. He's almost sinking into that knee-high ball and getting underneath it and just helping it on its way. It's not a terrible miss from Ho. It's just a slightly leg side, but helped on its way, and it's really flown off the bat there.
42 for 1. Hogan in again. Cracknell just dabs it down towards third man and goes through for the single. 43 for 1. So it looks like being just about Middlesex's power play, not particularly on runs scored, but just on the fact there's one down.
Yeah, I think Cracknell's played really nicely here. He's come in and taken some pressure off with some nice boundaries here. Obviously, it looks like Max is going to play that holding role throughout the team and let the guys go around him.
Hogan in to complete this over. Last ball within the power play, and that one's hit to square leg just for the single, with Holden picking out the fielder there. A couple of bounces out to the boundary. 10 off Hogan's over, including that 6. 44 for 1 at a packed Sophia Gardens after the power play 6 overs.
Yeah, the field's starting to spread here, and Douthwaite comes on. It tends to be the favoured time for him to bowl. He usually bowls a couple straight out of the power play and gives them a few options towards the death, so I'm sure it'll be a bit of seam and spin mixture throughout the next few overs, but certainly a decent start from Middlesex. Glamorgan would have liked another wicket or two, but it's certainly not run away from them yet.
So the field is just spreading now after the 6 over power play. It's going to be Dan Douthwaite to bowl the first over out of the power play. Expect a lot of slower balls, a lot of pace off tricks from him.
Yeah, he tends to be a bit more of a mixed bag than Hogan and Neser up top.
He's had a bit of an inconsistent start, but he's picked up key wickets as well. So he's in now to Holden, who drives to long on, just a single. So a tidy start. We've got a long on, the right-hander on strike now. Switching round.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty relatively straightforward field. With that mid-wicket and cover still in, trying to stop a 1. But
fine leg as well.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Cracknell is very likely to try and take the game to them quickly rather than later. So
yeah, with 3 on the leg side as well, looks like he's just going to try and protect that short boundary as much as possible. As Douthwaite is in to Cracknell, who gets a bit of an edge on that one, but he's got third man. Oh, they come back for 2, and they make it just in time. Didn't look like there was 2 there. I think that was Eddie Byram down on the third boundary. It was good running in the end. The throw wasn't quite on target to Alex Horton, which allowed them to just scamper through for the second in the end.
Now that pocket's probably the largest on the ground, so they did well to get back for 2. I think with a slightly flatter throw they might have been in business, but a good judgment from Cracknell there.
As Douthwaite bowls another drive, but straight out to Carlson again on the cover boundary. Just a single.
Yeah, pretty classical batting from the Middlesex batters. There hasn't been too much innovation or big slogs as of yet, so it's going to be interesting to see when they step their foot on the pedal a little bit. They've got a lot of flexibility in this batting lineup as well, so we're not sure who's going to come out next.
Douthwaite in his headband into Max Holden, who clips off his leg straight to David Lloyd at mid-wicket. There's no run. Middlesex 48 for 1 in the 7th over here on BBC Sport Online and Glamorgan Middlesex websites. Cracknell has 26, Holden 13.
Yeah, I think Holden's still without a boundary, so I'm sure he's going to be itching to get one away here.
Douthwaite strides in. That's full of length. Oh, got a good hand to it there at point. That was almost certainly flying down to that short boundary, so it just 2 runs in the end. Who's at a point? I can't see.
I think it's Andrew Salter. He tends to be lurking around there. That's certainly +2 in the book, and Douthwaite will be very happy with that stop. Nice and wide of the off stump, and Maxie's really thrown his hands at that, so that's saved him a couple of runs there.
That brings up Middlesex's 50 in the 7th over. Last ball of the 7th from Douthwaite. Holden clips it off his leg for a single out to Kieran Carson at mid-wicket, so still yet to score a boundary is the opener Holden. Another tidy over from Glamorgan, no boundary in that one. Middlesex move on to 51 for 1. Yeah,
I think certainly Glamorgan will be very happy with this boundary count so far. again, if this pressure can lead to wickets, they'll be very, very impressed. But Salt's on here. So we're kind of waiting for this Middlesex batting lineup to really take it to a bowler, and I think spin could potentially be their target. So it could be a stick or twist situation here with Salt's on the bowl.
Matters to come for Middlesex. John Simpson, the keeper. Jack Davis, youngster, one of several pretty young players in this Middlesex side, early 20s. Luke Holman, Chris Green, Martin Anderson, the all-rounder, and then Helm, Walalawita and Behrendorff, the bowlers. Salter bowls down the pitch, comes Holden and smacks that far, far into the crowd down beneath us. That was probably about row 12, I think. He turned it into a full toss. And that is a big blow.
Yeah, I think
Michael
that shows
Hogan's
the
got to go and
intent
get the ball.
Yeah, he's climbing
He's
through
climbing
the
through the boundaries. This is we saw this in the Netherlands the other day, how many balls they lost. And Hogan's just jumped the fence and he's got to try and find the ball, because I think it went down the steps.
Oh no,
You can see
down
that
the
small
gangway.
gap there where the
They need to save his
spectators come
legs
through.
here,
It was
surely.
perfectly,
Where are the stewards
perfectly
at?
placed. They've just let him go straight through.
And also, as Webby mentioned earlier, we've got the old school sight screen on the pitch, so it actually cuts down this straight boundary again by a few more yards. So I'm actually certainly looking at that. And that was the
Hogan's
intent.
reappeared. He's got a ball.
Yeah.
Salts also has a ball, so we're going to have to... oh, there you go. Sticking with the old one.
Oh, no, we
they'll
missed
stick
it.
with the one they were using, which rolls past Salter as he lobs the other one back to the umpire. The other ball goes from one umpire to the other. It's chaos out there. 57 for 1, 7.1 overs are Middlesex as Salter bowls. Reverse sweep. Oh, that's gone through. Has it hit anything on the way? It's gone through for 4 byes. Ah, dear.
It's a tough call, that is, down the leg side. It looked like a missed leg stump, didn't it? So young Horton's just missed out there. Yeah, that's a very tough call on Mr. Horton. I think Salts is probably more likely to be happy he got away with a wide there.
As Salter bowls, driven by Holden up towards long on. Single taken, so Middlesex galloping along to 62 for 1 in this 8th over. As they've got 11 off 3 deliveries.
Yeah, feels like this over's been building for a little while. There hasn't been too much impetus on this Middlesex batting lineup, and I think this might be the over they're going to start cracking on with it a little bit.
So Salter rearranging his forces with square leg, mid wicket and long on all back on the leg side. As Cracknell edges one down towards short, third man, good sprawling stop by Douthwaite on the edge of the circle to keep them down to a single. 63 for 1.
An old school genuine edge there.
Maybe a little bit of turn? Or
yeah, again, it seems to be holding a little bit. I don't think anyone's massive spinners the ball out here, but just that little bit of hold would be enough for Salts.
As a slog sweep from Holden, and not a very pretty one on that occasion.
We're starting to see
missed.
the full repertoire now. We've had a run down, a reverse and a slog sweep, so certainly some intent shown here.
Trying to hit it into the pavilion on the short side of the ground, the left-handed Holden. As Salter bowls again, gets the batsman a little bit tucked up and prevents them from taking a single, does Andrew Salter, as that was pushed out on the leg side. Thought they might try a quick single, but they didn't, so a couple of dot balls to pull it back for Salter at the end of the over, but Middlesex going nicely at 63 for 1 after 8, so loads of wickets in hand.
Yeah, even that over where they got nearly 6 away in those 4 byes, Salty protected the end of the over pretty well, so it didn't get away from him. Middlesex still looking for that really big over to set them off, but Glammy again happy with them kind of keeping them within reach, but certainly that 9 wickets in hand getting towards the last 10 overs really sets them up to go pretty big here.
And it's going to be Prem Sisodia back on, so spin at both ends now. I wonder if we're going to still see Middlesex targeting those short straight boundaries. He has got protection at long on and long off, sensibly. As he twirls in now, and dot ball just poked out to David Lloyd at cover, so good start from Prem here. Middlesex still at 63 for 1 in the 9th.
Yeah, just had a message from Nick Gubbins, formerly of Middlesex, and now at Hampshire, saying he's enjoying the coverage this evening. So nice to get him on BBC Wales and listening to some proper radio coverage.
Just a single there from Joe Cracknell from Sisodia's second, so the field just shifts around again.
Yeah, just likely to see these sweep shots from Maxi Holden here. Prem again tends to hold this left arm round angle, which makes it really tough for that LB shout. So I think Max is going to be getting down on one knee. Just which way it's going to go is your best guess.
He is hitting to the bigger boundary conventionally, so whether we'll see a reverse. And nope, he just takes his single out onto the leg side. Carlson darts in from cow corner and does the fielding. Moves the score on to 65 for 1.
Yeah, nice little partnership here from Cracknell and Holden. It's just building, just ticked over that 50-run mark, which is a pretty big milestone in T20 cricket.
So in again now, and he pins Cracknell on the pad. There's a slight appeal, but nothing from the keeper. Just worth a try from Prem, I think.
Nice control from Prem. That's pretty much him in a nutshell, just trying to cramp these batters up and slide it into those stumps. So it's just sliding down leg stump that time.
This is in again now, and we have the paddle sweep, and it's played beautifully by Joe Cracknell, but it doesn't go anywhere. Looked as if he timed it quite nicely, just a single. Prem's got that protection of short third and short fine, so that's, you can see what Cracknell was trying to do, trying to get it over their head, but just a bit of pace off from Prem perhaps.
Yeah, it's very much straight over his helmet there, trying to access right behind the keeper, but not sure he got too much on it.
And from the final ball, Cracknell plays that nicely. They come back for 2 out into the leg sides, and they get there. That's very, very good running. It was perfectly placed between cow corner and long on. And it was a good throw in the end, but they settle for 2 straight away, which is always the key, to get out of the blocks quickly, which they did nicely. So Middlesex on to 68 for 1 from 9 overs.
Yeah, again, no boundary that over, so Glamorgan again relatively happy. This partnership's starting to build though, and I feel like these big overs are going to be coming. Looks like Douthwaite back on from the media centre end.
Yes. Discussing things with David Lloyd, sending fielders back to the boundary at third man and fine leg, as you might expect. Square legs on the ropes, long ons on the ropes. Mid off is up. There's a sweeper on the short cover boundary and a man at third man as well. 68 for 1 after 9, so we approach halfway. Douthwaite bowls and Cracknell tries to turn on the leg side. I think that was off the pad as it ran towards mid wicket. Bouncy pads these days. That one went about 20-25 metres off.
Yeah, again, it hasn't seemed too easy to time. There's not been too many conventional cricket shots tonight that's got a lot of reward, so certainly not easy for these Middlesex batters. So it's going to be very much a battle of the death, I think, here so far.
Holden not quite ready. Douthwaite is in again to bowl wide of off stump. That will be called wide.
Yeah, interesting to see. There's 4 men out on the leg side, especially to the shorter boundary here from Dan Douthwaite. He's just tried to sneak one inside that offside wide line, almost that double bluff, but it's going to be interesting to see what he bowls here, and Maxi will certainly be sniffing the smallest hit on the ground.
Douthwaite trying to keep it outside off stump in all probability. A short ball, and it's 4 runs over slips where the slips would have been. It wasn't a genuine shot, but Holden won't care about that. It's a legitimate risk to take. So he tried to pull, and it's ended up at third man.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting tactic here for Glamorgan. Again, as I mentioned, they're targeting almost that shorter boundary here by Douthwaite going in short and having those 4 men back on that shorter leg side. I think Maxi's going to be very much sweating on that ball, and he didn't get much of a piece of it, but he certainly felt it coming. So it'll be interesting to see what Douthwaite follows up this ball with.
As Douthwaite is in, bowls down the wicket comes Holden and slaps it away through the covers, but finds Carlson sweeping on the boundary on the grandstand side of the ground, and it's just the single. 75 for 1 are Middlesex.
Yeah, that's Dan's change of pace there. I'm not sure if it was the back of the handball or just a cutter, but down to 65 mile an hour, nicely bowled, and Maxi Holden again coming for him, looking for that shorter boundary, and just held it wide of him.
Douthwaite over the wicket, the right-hander, and he's chipped that one up in the air and got away with it. Joe Cracknell, as the ball just looped up towards mid-wicket, but there was no one anywhere near, and they take the single.
Yeah, there we go. And that's Cracknell's turn. I think looks like Dan's pretty much favouring the middle half of this wicket here. They're going to be sitting back and looking for these pull shots, which they haven't played too well so far, but I think they're going to be pretty confident if one comes into their arc now they've got the line up.
76 for 1 as we approach halfway. Douthwaite bowls up in the block hole, driven through the offside by Holden, but picked up by Carlson, who makes good ground to it, sends his throw skimming in and keeps them down to a single. So here we are at almost halfway. Holden 32 not out. Cracknell is 30 not out, and dangerous stuff.
Another nice change of pace there from Dan. That's very much what he brings to the table through these middle overs. Slight field change with both straight men back now and third man up.
As that is clipped off his legs by Cracknell down towards fine leg, should be just about stopped. It is knocked inside by Hogan, and Carlson finishes the fielding. And was that 3 an iron?
It was brilliant fielding by Mr. Hogan down there. He might be 41 years old on paper, but he tends to be one of the better fielders in this lineup, and you'll regularly see him at long on and cow corner, so nothing we haven't come to expect from the big man down at fine leg.
Used all his 6'5" or thereabouts, as when the score pops up on the board, that should be 80 for 1 at halfway, with myself, Nick Webb, and Iron Donald and Fionn Wynne.
What do you think Middlesex will be looking at from
it's certainly an interesting one here. They'll be very comfortable with 8 and over at the halfway stage. I think they're going to be looking at for at least 180 really from here with wickets in hand.
Going at 10s. And there's a wicket.
On that note,
Bram Sisodia has bowled Joe Cracknell, I think it is. Came just a slight charge down the wicket from Cracknell, and it's nipped through his defence. Looked like he might have turned a little bit, that one, actually. Played all around it, though.
Yeah, nice length by Prem. It's really difficult to get down to him when he's bowling that kind of pace. Cracknell, a very good striker of the ball, so they'll be pleased they got him out as he was starting to get going. But I think Glamorgan needed that partnership was starting to grow and grow, so hopefully they can build some pressure on the new batter here.
Yeah, a solid partnership between Cracknell and Holden. Cracknell goes for 33 from 26 balls. The score is 80 for 2. Just over halfway mark with 1 ball into the 11th over, and it is John Simpson, wicket-keeper batter, in at number 4, who can also hit a very long ball. Yeah,
he's certainly the most experienced of their batters. This Middlesex lineup's relatively new luck over the last few years, so Maxi here to bat through, and I think they're going to be looking for John to really give some impetus again to let everyone else below him come in and go from ball 1 really.
And looks like is it 2 left-handers in now, so this is going to be another adjustment for the bowler.
Yeah, to the new batter here, the mid-wicket's in trying to save that 1, so there's only 1 point. It'll be interesting to see whether there's an early reverse sweep or not, with only that 1 man behind point on the offside.
And that's short of boundary, the offside for the left-hander, of course, as Prem's in now. Simpson's first ball, it's clipped nicely into the leg side. He's off the mark with a single straight away, as Kieran Carlson does the fielding, loops the ball back into the bowler. Middlesex 81 for 2.
Yeah, I think 180 is going to be that target Middlesex are looking for with these wickets in hand. I think Glamorgan will be very happy if they can keep it anywhere near to 160.
As Prem Sisodia bowls back of a length, and Holden happy to just accept the single. Looks like Max Holden's happy to play the anchor role here. Might try and bat through the overs and allow the likes of John Simpson to play around him on a pitch like this.
Yeah, very much the role Sam North East has been playing for Glamorgan on the flip side.
As the Sisodia in, and there's the reverse, and it's beautifully executed by John Simpson. Just the second ball that he's faced, and he automatically knows to target that shorter boundary down there, and it flies past the fielder, Dan Douthwaite.
I think Dan actually tried to read that ball and started running to his right to cover the reverse sweep, and it's just gone the other side of him, about a head high.
It's perfectly timed though.
Yeah, that mid-wicket's gone across already. Simpson regularly plays that reverse sweep, so it was a little bit of an early gamble to try and squeeze some dots.
And Sisodi's in now, and that's full. Clipped out to Kieran Carlson, who seems to have fielded every single ball in this innings for another single. And now it's time for Sisodi to try and close out this over. Middlesex 87 for 2.
Yeah, certainly Simpson's going to be looked to be the aggressor of this partnership again.
As Holden clips again, and does Kieran Carlson do the fielding? Yes, he. Oh, nearly. Oh, a misfield. Carlson looks like he was just rushing to beat Michael Hogan to that ball in a bit of a race, but the misfield allows them to come in for 2. Allows Middlesex to move on to 89 for 2. So good. They lost the wicket from that first ball there, but there's a profitable over in terms of runs for Middlesex.
Yeah, it seems like Middlesex has been ticking along nicely. There hasn't been anything too crazy as of yet, but they seem to got to this 8 runs and over without breaking too much of a sweat. Again, it looked like a little stoppy with the new ball, but certainly starting to come on the bat a little bit better here throughout the middle overs.
So Simpson is 6, Holden is 35. There are 9 overs left of the Middlesex innings, and Andrew Salter's off spin back in the attack from the Cathedral Road end, as he will bowl to Simpson. As he plays that one down to point, they'll go through for a quick single, but it's safe enough. 2 left-handers at the wicket now, and potentially a couple more to come in Jack Davis and Luke Holman. As Salter is in, it follows the batsman Holden as he stepped back towards leg side, and Salter watched him do that and fired it towards his pads.
Yeah, nice control from Salts there.
Dot ball. 90 for 2. Down the wicket, clubbed away through the leg side, but picked up at mid-wicket by Neser, and he keeps them down to a single. Holden on to 36.
Yeah, certainly the most aggressive Max has been throughout this innings when Salts has come on to bowl. Feeling like he can target that straight, short boundary on the leg side that he's got there to favour him.
Salter in, slog sweep away towards square leg. That'll plug a little bit, and it's just the single. Not really timed there by Simpson. 92 for 2. It's so inviting, that short leg side boundary for the professionals.
Starting to get sucked in, aren't they?
It's only 50-55 metres, as that's smacked into the offside this time by Holden. Single taken out to the ever-willing Carlson on the ropes in front of the grandstand. Well, actually about 40 metres in front of the grandstand. I'm surprised anyone's sitting there, because they need their binoculars out in the grandstand tonight. There's even 1 or 2 at the back of the stand. Not sure what they're up to. 93 for 2. Last ball of the 12th over to Simpson, who digs it out, plays it to point. Single taken. Byram Fields. 94 for 2, just 5 off the Salter over, so he'll settle that for that any day. Salter's bowling speeds and that over varying between 45 and 53 miles an hour.
Nice little addition, the old speed gun, isn't it? Gives us a bit more information. I think some boys will be a bit annoyed, especially the fast bowlers, seeing what they clock at sometimes. Prem to go again here. That looks like they're going to try and get rid of these last 2 spin overs back to back. Glammy only deploying the 5 bowlers tonight, so a little bit of pressure on all the bowlers.
Well, that was Salter's 3rd over. He's gone for 20 from his 3 overs, which, given that short boundary, is a very decent effort indeed. As Sisodi's in, and he's driven firmly down the ground. Was that a drop?
I think it's a tough call to call it a drop.
It was drilled very hard back at Sisodi. I think he did get his fingertips to it, but it's one of those that either sticks or it doesn't. And unfortunately for Glamorgan, it doesn't, and it races away for 4. So Simpson moves on to 13 from 7 balls. He's made his intent pretty clear in his first few balls at the crease.
Again, Michael Hogan in the sight screen searching for balls.
He's being made to work in his final year on the Glamorgan staff.
Yeah, another nice shot from Simpson there. Timed very well, just past Prem's outstretched left hand. Beat long on, who didn't really have much of a chance. Again, just the momentum starting to shift a little bit here back towards Middlesex.
So 4 from the first ball. What can Sisodia do? He's in now to Simpson, who always pinned on the pads. Not out. It was a little bit short, maybe a little bit leg side. Simpson was trying to get that sweep away, so good reply there from Sisodia.
That's the only downside, obviously, to Prem trying to ball left arm around the wicket, almost 60 mile an hour that one, but very difficult for him to land it in line and get an LB, but keeping it away from that short boundary.
He's in now, and that is down the leg side, and that is all very well saved by Byram there at short fine leg. Sisodia certainly got away with that one. It was down the leg side, clipped by John Simpson, but it's restricted to just a single. Middlesex approaching that 100 mark, then 99 for 2.
Some very good ground fielding tonight from Glamorgan. It's been some important stops at short third man and fine leg especially.
And Sodia's in now, and that is punched down the ground. They set off for 2. Holden's very quick between the wickets, and they take 2 to Michael Hogan. Are they going to get... Yes, they are. And Hogan doesn't look too pleased about it, but I think they are actually targeting 2 to him out there at the long on boundary, and that brings up Middlesex's 101 for 2.
Yeah, so it's always very difficult to defend those deep pockets here at the Swaylock Stadium. It's a relatively square boundary line, so once you can get it with the right weight into that gap, wider long on and straighter of deep mid wicket, it's very difficult to cut that off.
Holden moves on to 39. He's on strike now, and he clips that one out to Kieran Carson at mid wicket. They definitely don't take 2 to Kieran Carson. They jog through for a single there, so they're picking their fielders wisely.
Yeah, again, sticking 8 and over here pretty comfortably.
Not taking any risks.
No, down to 7 overs to go. I think they're going to be looking to really step on it sooner rather than later.
And Sisodia tries to close out the over now, and he does so nicely. Clipped out to the mid-wicket boundary, just a single to Kieran Carson again. So, yeah, Middlesex just ticking over very nicely. Like you say, they are taking about a boundary and over and making it up with 1s and 2s in between. Getting to 8 or 9 and over without really taking any risk. They've got 8 wickets in hand. They're 103 for 2 from 13 overs. Is this the time now that they're going to kick in with Max Holden in and pretty settled at the crease?
Yeah, you'd have thought so. It looks like they're going back to seam here, which is interesting. This Salter's last over is going to go relatively deep, which I'm sure there'll be something the Middlesex bat lineup will be looking to target, but a wicket here will start again. We'll just start to slow that Middlesex charge down again by an over or so. So going back to the big guns in Michael Hogan, the tried and tested, to give them a little bit of confidence and a swing of momentum, hopefully.
So they've got 2 left apiece from Hogan and Neser in the last 7, 1 from Salter and 2 from Douthwaite. The option to switch the medium pace of David Lloyd, but he's only bowled 4 overs so far in the competition, been a bit reluctant to bowl himself. Haven't seen a lot of Ingram.
Yeah, likely Salter's going to swap to the other side with the 2 left-handers into the longer boundary, I'd guess.
Hogan is in to bowl 2. Simpson, who hits that one up in the air. There's a man underneath it. Byram's called for it, and he's taken it at backward point. Third man, that's sliced miles up in the air, and Hogan gets his second wicket. Byram with a nasty spiralling skied catch. Simpson gone for 15, 103 for 3.
Yeah, and as we say, that's a great bowling change by the skipper Lloyd. Seems to have really developed into a good leader over the last year or so, as it's starting to show through here. Hogan back on, 1 wicket, 1 ball. What more can you say? Hoping for 1 more year, aren't they, the fans?
That's the hashtag, 1 more year.
I think his wife might have something to say about going back to sunny Australia rather than hang around here for another winter.
There must be nothing worse for a batter than to hear that Bananarama, na hey hey, goodbye. I think if I were walking off that, I'd stick my back through the nearest speaker.
I was about to say, I think it's a little bit untasteful at times, certainly as a player being on the end of that, especially the quack quack sounds when you start walking off for a duck. I'm not sure that's ever necessary. The fans will do it for you, especially at certain grounds. But
the cartoon duck on the screen is the worst, possibly.
I think it's poor form, but hey, it's because I'm on the receiving end of it most times.
It's all entertainment, supposedly. 103 for 3 in the 14th here on BBC Sport and the Glamorgan and Middlesex websites as Jack Davis is the new bat who drives his first ball uppishly. It could be a run out, oh, it's missed. As Colin Ingram there would have got Max Holden at the non-striker's end had that hit. Davis drove uppishly towards mid-off. And Holden was nowhere near.
Colin Ingram was almost 10 yards away from the non-striker there, really in, trying to save that one, and Max Holden was dead and buried as he thought there was a comfortable one there. Big miss there. Those 2 wickets, 2 balls really could have changed things.
As next delivery, a swing and a miss. As I thought for a moment there might have been a little feather on it from Jack Davis through to Alex Horton, the 18-year-old from the Newbridge club, as Hogan beating the outside edge there.
Yeah, Jack Davis, one of the younger batters here, a pretty conventional top order batter. He's gone anywhere from 3 to 6, so he's certainly not going to hang around here, but interesting to see they didn't float one of the bigger hitters up if that was the way they were going to go about it.
Hogan bowls up in the block hole. Davis drives. There's another run-out chance. Yeah. That's out.
Didn't miss that time.
Colin Ingram hits, and Jack Davis is the man to go for naught. And really, that was suicidal in terms of running. Jack Davis has hit the ball pretty hard, straight to a shortish mid-off, who's halfway up inside the circle.
He had the dress rehearsal there, but Jack Davis had to make it 22 yards instead of Max turning around from 4 yards away. But great throw under pressure then from Colin. It never felt like he was going to miss from that angle with all 3 stumps to aim at. Again, a good couple of wickets there, a good change of bowling and just wrestling some momentum back. So I believe Holman's out to bat here, another left-hander.
Oh dear, he gets the duck effects, poor old Jack Davis.
Right on cue, those.
Holden's still there then, 40 off 36 deliveries, but we'll see what Holman brings to the party. He's got a batting average of 20 and a strike rate of 125 so far in this competition.
Obviously, I think he's in the team predominantly as a leg spinner. He's starting to bat a bit more year after year, and he's starting to slide up this Middlesex order.
As Holden is not ready. Is there someone moving next to the screen? We had this the other day. It seems strange that they're not able to, even though there's no one in front of the screen, it's spectators moving at the side of the screen. It seems to put them off.
The first rule of watching cricket, isn't it?
He's not happy.
Well, you're not going in front of the screen. You'd have thought that.
Max Holden's still waving his arms, and Blackie the umpire here. I think there's someone in a fluorescent shirt who's a little bit too close to the sight screen. However, I would argue our sight screens are pretty big these days, so if they're distracting you, I'm not sure you're watching the right thing.
That's the white thing heading at you from 22 yards. Hogan in, bowls Holden, plays it to cover. Lloyd comes dashing in, and there's no run. So
2 wickets and no runs so far this over. A huge move here. Great move from the skipper, and Michael Hogan as solid as ever. They'll be looking to close this out and really just sucking that run rate back to 7.5, so certainly going the wrong way for the Middlesex lineup. Still with a few wickets to play. I think they'll just calm down for an over or so and then provide the onslaught with a few to go.
Hogan in the evening sunshine is in to bowl, and that was almost a 3rd wicket of the over as Holden's shot flashed past point. It's run away for 4, so it is a boundary to Middlesex. They get the 4 runs off that over, but that was perilously close to point as it was something of a sliced drive from Holden. Had it been a metre or so the other way, it might have fallen for Byron, but it's raced away for 4. 107 for 4 after 14 at Middlesex.
Yeah, he's just trying to tuck that into the mid-wicket gap, and I think he's almost caught it so clean off the edge, it's raced away back past backward point, but that's a great over from Michael Hogan. And here comes the last over of spin. Just to the slightly larger boundary as we thought here, with both left-handers in.
It'll be interesting now to see whether they do target this over. It's Andrew Salter's last, or he's bowled very nicely, 3 overs for 20, whether they will just close it out having lost those 2 wickets in that over. He's bowled into Luke Holman, another left-hander, and he punches it off the back foot very nonchalantly out to cover. They take a single. The score moves on to 108 for 4.
They've got 2 all-rounders left in Green and Anderson in some sort of order. I think they're pretty confident in with the bat, and after that they get quite quickly to the bowlers here, so certainly another few wickets will be really important for Glamorgan. As
Holden clips that one out to deep mid-wicket, Kieran Carlson does the fielding. So another single, 109 for 4. A tidy start from Salter to his last over. We're into the 15th.
I think Max Holden here is just looking to manage this next over or so, just build some sort of partnership with Holman before they crack on. I don't think you're going to see too much action this over.
No, they seem to be playing pretty safely at the moment as Holman chips that up to long on to Hogan for another single. He'll be happy they didn't try and run two to him there. Salter's in now. That's short. That's just drifts down the leg side, so it'll be called a wide. He'll be disappointed with that.
I also thought Alex Holden's been very tidy with the gloves, especially with some throws into some rather big foot marks around him.
As Holden just dabs that very nicely bowled, nice and full from Salter, who fields off his own bowling, but they managed to scamper through for a single.
Yeah, it looks like Salt's varied his pace quite nicely throughout the evening here. He's had no wickets to reward him, but he's bowled 3 overs to the short side as an off-spin bowler. I think the Clammy will be very pleased with this spell so far, if you can see it out.
As that is just chipped uppishly, but over to long on. Hogan again does the fielding, keeping him busy, having just bowled an over as well. And just plenty of singles from this over so far. 5 singles on the wide, so they've taken 6 from it pretty comfortably. And finishes with a dot, just defended by Max Holden, back to the bowler. So a very good spell from Andrew Salter. He goes wicketless, but not for 26 from 4 overs in a 2020 is not too shabby at all.
Yeah, a great spell there from Salts. Again, as I said, the bulk of those overs to the shorter boundary here. They'll be very pleased with how that's gone and likely to be seen to close it out here. I think Douthwaite 2 remaining, Hogan with just the 1 and Neser 2. So Douthwaite back on, likely to save Hogan for one of those later death overs and Neser to finish out then from the next end.
So we've had so far just the 8 boundaries and 8 4s and 2 6s, so 10 boundaries altogether. But youthful crowd, many thousands allocated to schools and to the youngsters involved in the Dynamos and All-Stars cricket. And the
Max is still going at the guy behind the screen. I'm not sure they've quite caught on.
Douthwaite is...
Are they shouting at us? Are we shouting at us?
Douthwaite is telling a group to move on, and maybe the stewards to be a bit more draconian in that area of the ground. Actually, the stewards have got orange high-vis on, so
I think it might be them.
They could be the stewards who are inadvertently causing the problems. Anyway, at 113 for 4 after 15 overs, it's Douthwaite to bowl, and that's cracked away through the offside by Holman for just the single. Once the throw comes in and nearly decapitates Douthwaite.
Yeah, again, Carlson out that deep cover boundary. He's been fantastic tonight. And again, there's been some good pressure put on by this Glamorgan fielding lineup. Can always play a big part in tightly scoring affairs. So they'll be hoping that comes to fruition towards the end of the game.
Douthwaite's running away from us and bowling, driven into the covers, sprawling stop there by the skipper David Lloyd, and no run. Holden trying to accelerate towards a half century. He's got 46 off 42 at the moment, and the pink shirts of Middlesex. Nice bit of evening sunshine bathes the Fire Gardens, with the shade just moving around about a quarter across the ground at the moment from the pavilion. There's Douthwaite bowls, slower ball, hits straight to point, slight misfields, but they're through for a single.
Yeah, again, Max taking his time. He's still in no rush. Balls are starting to go away from this Middlesex side. I think you're likely to see a bit more innovation and some power, hopefully, from Holman's end from this Middlesex lower order.
Douthwaite in, bowls up in the block hole. He followed Holman there as he tried to give himself room on the leg side. Bowled a leg stump York, and it's just a single.
If I had to guess, I think Maxie's just going to tick over to this 50, get to the milestone, and then look to expand, if I had to guess, as a professional batsman. I think we've all been there once or twice. That milestone just within reach.
As Douthwaite is in, bowls, that's swung away on the leg side, and 4 runs. That is Holden's 50 then. It's come off 44 deliveries, I believe, as he pulled that one away just in front of square on the pavilion side. Timed it well enough, and Max Holden does get to his 50 off 44 deliveries, 3 fours and a 6.
Very nice shot there from Max. Probably the first one that's actually split the fielders on that short boundary. So Glamorgan will be very, very pleased with that. But I think Maxie's well set to crack on here and play some big shots.
Well, it's a full toss from Douthwaite. It's a legitimate one, just about. It's hit by Holden to Neser at mid-wicket. Single taken, so 8 off the over, 4 to go. And Middlesex a 1-2-1 for 4, with Holden having reached his half century, and on the big screen in the background, the thing that all reporters dread: do a live vox pop. Ask the kids what they think of it.
Yeah,
the
one-word answers tend to quickly come out, but stumps the journalists.
He's pretty chatty, actually. He's lucked out that one.
It's
He's
good choice.
chosen wisely.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very happy.
Yeah.
A big how's that on the big screen.
I think Glamorgan is looking like they're going to restrict them. I think 160 is going to be a decent ask from Middlesex from here. I think looking from 80 for 1 at the halfway stage to be very pleased. But again, with these wickets in the tank, you never know here at the Swaylock Stadium.
Yeah, 4 overs to go. Middlesex 121 for 4. Holden well set on 52. He's on strike now to Michael Neser, who's in. It's ball very full. Just dug out onto the offside. They take a quick single.
I think now he's after a free electricity supply here, the way he's plugging the sponsors who don't sponsor the stadium anymore.
Right. I do apologise.
That's a Safari.
Is it back to Safari Gardens?
Yeah.
Can't blame me, I've been away for a while.
Still has it on one or two of the road signs.
Other electricity suppliers are available. Although they're all the same price these days, aren't they? No matter where you are.
All too much, yeah.
Just a slight adjustment to Neser's field, who brings his long off in and sends third man back, as he's in now to Holman, and he sends it straight over, as always happens, straight over the head of mid-off for 4 runs. Perfectly placed. Just brought that fielder in, and that is expertly just chipped over his head, just to rub it in a little bit. Yeah,
interesting to see that field change, which has quickly gone back. Holman's very much a striker of the cricket ball, looking to access the straighter shots. But yeah, it only lasted 1 ball, and he took advantage of that.
As Neser's in now, looking for a reply. Very full once again. Beautifully stopped by Dan Douthwaite. That was racing away for a guaranteed boundary, and he just dives full length. A short third man gets a hand to it, and it's just a single in the end. So fantastic bit of fielding. Saved 3 runs for certain there, Douthwaite.
Yeah, nice shot. And on that note, Holman tries to go back through third man, open the blade nicely. Again, just starting to feel this Middlesex onslaught's going to come. So it's going to be an interesting over or two.
Holden back on strike now. Middlesex 127 for 4, and it's just short. And again, another great piece of fielding. Short fine leg from Prem Sisodia, just off the inside edge from Max Holden, and Sisodia might have just rolled a little bit awkwardly on his shoulder there, but he seems to be right. They've protected this short boundary.
They have.
Very well.
It also hasn't looked very easy to strike throughout the innings. You know, even Maxie is set and faced a lot of balls. He hasn't hit too many cleanly. So I don't think this 160 score, if they can get to it, is anything to be sniffed at.
And Neser bouncing a short ball. Swing and a miss. Is it going to be called a wide? No, it's not. It's just as one for the over. Holman looks bemused. But could have gone either way, perhaps.
I think, yes.
Yeah. But it's a dot ball. Neser will be happy. Glamorgan will be happy. Holman, not so much. The score stays 128 for 4. 1 ball to go in the 17th.
Yeah, just starting to see this variation here from Neser, who's very much top of the stumps that first 2 overs, and now we've seen a little bit of everything. Bouncer Yorker and a slower ball, so trying to be unpredictable as possible throughout the last couple.
So now to close out the over, it's very full. Another perfectly executed Yorker, just driven up to long off. Are they going to come back for 2? Yes. Holden's run those 2s very nicely, and they come back very comfortably in the end. Neser is not happy, but it was quite well placed to the left of the fielder out at long off. So 2 runs takes the score into 130 for 4. 3 overs to go.
Yeah, again, just the 1 boundary off the over, but still up 9 and over. So it's very much been in the balance throughout this inning. So it's certainly going to take the Glamorgan batsman to show us if it's a decent score or under par or over par.
Yeah, they've. I think it's going to be a challenging chase if they get up to 160, 130 with 3 overs left. I think 160 might take some getting. Glamorgan just about got to 150 on Sunday with 1 over to spare, so it is achievable. Michael Hogan will try to limit the damage in this 18th or anti-penultimate over. I knew there was a word for it somewhere, just couldn't remember it. Hogan is bringing in his long off and sending back his third man as he's in to bowl to Max Holden, and that's clubbed away on the leg side towards mid-wicket, be fielded by Neser, and there's just the single. Neser, one of the strongest fielders in this Glamorgan side, despite being a big, burly, fast bowler. He's had a couple of run-outs and seems to have safe hands.
Yeah, there's not too many players in the modern day T20 that you need to hide in the field, and certainly the fast bowlers here at Glamorgan are some of the better ones.
Hogan then into bowl. Holman hits that one big up towards long on. He's cleared the ropes. It's around half a dozen rows back towards the members area, and that is a maximum, as Holman getting a nice swing underneath that one. I think it was dropped in the crowd.
Yeah, just slightly missed on length there, Hogan, give him a little bit of room to get under, and a nice strike from Holman there down the ground.
Next delivery edged down to third man for a single by Luke Holman, 21-year-old left-hander, which brings Holden back onto strike. So 8 off this over, off the first 3 deliveries. Little chat mid-wicket between the two batters. Middlesex having beaten Glamorgan by 4 wickets at Radlett, though really it was an easier victory than that suggests. But results here in Cardiff have generally gone with Glamorgan in recent years, 5 out of the last 6. As Hogan bowls, carved away on the offside, stopped on the boundary by Byram. They'll go back for a second, and it's not picked up by Hogan, but it is backed up. So it's a couple more runs to Max Holden, who moves on to 57 not out.
Nice bit of fielding again. There's used wickets right the way across that boundary line, so he's done well to get a clean pickup on it. I think that's the ball Hogan's going to favour here going later on. That wide line Yorker. Maxie got some good bat on it, but certainly again keeping it away from the danger.
Hogan to Holden, who clips that one away on the leg sides. They'll think about a second, but think twice as North East does the fielding, and the shadow in front of the pavilion. 141 for 4, so 11 off this over already. Holman on strike. This is something of a linguistic nightmare with Hogan, Holden and Holman, beaten only by Nottinghamshire having a Pattinson, Patterson and Patterson White,
yes,
which was described by my colleague as Pato cubed. Holman on strike. Hogan to bowl, full toss, hit away on the leg side. Will that be called no ball? It's caught at mid-wicket.
Everyone's looking around, but I think it might have just snuck under that waistband. It's
out.
The age-old classic. I think rubbish gets wickets is the term. That's not Hogan's best ball, but he probably deserves it for the control he's shown throughout this evening. He's just hasn't got enough bat on that Holman and caught quite comfortably a deep mid-wicket.
Oh, I'm surprised that one wasn't given.
I think we'll stay impartial and say it was 50-50. Neser was ready to throw that ball in, which probably says all you need to know.
That did look on the replay.
Oof.
Maybe the batter took a step down, but it was
too much.
Probably about 6 inches above the waistband, I thought. There we are. Out is out. Holman has gone. It's 141 for 5, and there are 2 overs left of this Middlesex innings. Presumably it'll be Green to replace him. Yes, Green in the green boots. There we are.
Yeah,
it's an easy one to remember.
Absolutely.
That wicket was one where, as a bowler, you just keep your head down, don't you?
Yeah.
You just keep your head down. Don't make eye contact with anyone.
Your good balls go for 6 sometimes. So it's only fair.
Exactly. Bowlers Union.
Yeah,
of course.
I wouldn't know. So the right-hander comes out here in green, so it gives them a little bit more flexibility. Again, we've been talking about the short side all night, but not too much has come of it. In fact, that wicket there was certainly almost a result of that targeting.
And that over completed Michael Hogan's spell. 3 for 28 from his 4 overs. A fine effort indeed. So big 2 overs here now, with still 1 left for Neser, 1 left for Douthwaite, who's going to bowl the 19th, which they often say is the most important over of all.
Yeah, it's a big over here. There's still 5 wickets in the shed, but certainly only 1 more recognised batter to come.
As Douthwaite's in down the leg side, and it's, he's pulled it straight to short, fine leg. Would you believe it? That was an absolute pie, to be honest with you. And Douthwaite will probably be the first to admit that as he puts his head in his hands. He cannot quite believe what's just happened, and neither can Max Holden, who on 58 has just tried to pull it round the corner. It was a short ball, nothing on it whatsoever. Yeah. And Prem Sisodia gratefully takes the easiest of easy catches.
It's an interesting replay to watch back. Max Holden's jumped to the leg side to give him room, and Douthwaite's not only followed him, but probably missed leg side of that. But to be found straight at 45. Again, probably not the finest bit of cricket all round, but Glamorgan again kept Max, I think, only to 4 or so boundaries throughout that 40-odd ball, so they'd be very pleased with that. Max obviously played an important role to get them to the score where they are, but 2 new batters in, which certainly stems the flow a little bit towards the death overs and innings.
Yeah, I've just chipped away nicely, Glamorgan, at key times in these middle overs, and now towards the back end. 2 wickets and 2 balls, both from very questionable deliveries, it must be said. And I say that as a bowler. But, you know, Glamorgan will take them. Middlesex will be disappointed, I'd imagine. They were both 2 balls that should have been hit to the boundary, if we're being honest. Yeah,
huge momentum shifter, that's the little bit of luck I think Glamorgan were looking for. Martin Anderson, though, certainly a recognised batter. He's batted all the way up into 3 throughout this year.
Douthwaite now on a team hat-trick. And it's just clipped off his legs nicely to square leg for a single, so he's off the mark. Straight away, Chris Green on strike for his first ball. And those, they were talking about getting distracted by bright things earlier behind the sight screen. Those boots could certainly do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure the green and pink is the usual fashion statement made in cricket. But Green certainly a decent striker of the cricket ball. Not too many balls left now, so they'll be looking to get as many boundaries out of these last 10 or so balls as possible.
Yeah, 142 for 6. Douthwaite's in, that's pumped straight down the ground past Michael Hogan for 4. That's a nice way to get off the mark for Chris Green. Nicely timed down the ground. We haven't seen that many timed down the ground, even though these short boundaries are straight, and that one was straight out the middle, right in the slot from Douthwaite and pumped over.
Yeah, I think as Max showed, trying to hold that innings together and facing 50 balls, it's not easy to play your classical cricket shots on, but I think the guys who can come out and hit the ball and strike the ball well from early on is going to be the key to this match, and I think Glamorgan obviously have a few guys in their order hoping to replicate that.
Michael Hogan again had to do the searching amongst the covers for the ball as Douthwaite's in now, full of again on his toes. They sprint out towards long on, look for the 2, but it's not there, so they settle for a single. So Douthwaite just pulling his length back nicely there, just that extra bit fuller. Yeah,
nice change of pace again. Douthwaite's certainly a bag of tricks, and he's pretty comfortable using all of it. Middlesex, I still think will be relatively pleased with where they're at, and it's certainly a score that's more than defendable in Cardiff throughout this year.
147 for 6. Douthwaite's in. Oh, that's straight up in the air. Has he got enough on it? Yes, he has. Just over the mid-wicket boundary for another 6, so this is turning into a very profitable over for Middlesex. There was a wicket from the first ball. We've already had a 6 and a 4 with 1 ball to go. Douthwaite again, just balling in the slot, just not quite full enough to hit that Yorker, and just allowed the batter, Martin Anderson, just to swing his arms and get enough on that short boundary.
Yeah, I think that's the first one that's really been kind of a beneficiary of that short leg side boundary. Looks like Douthwaite just beat him a little bit through that change of pace, but it was ultimately a pretty good strike from Martin Anderson, and enough. It's 6 however far you hit it across the boundary rope, and he certainly did just enough there.
There's a bit of a conference now between the bowlers. Douthwaite taking some advice from Hogan about his field.
Interesting move here, fine leg back. They might be worried about the lap, but I'm surprised they haven't gone to a wide Yorker here to try and see them out of the over.
And the final ball of the 19th now, Douthwaite in, it's full again. And it's clipped down towards fine leg. Is it going to go for 4? Yes, it is. It beats Prem Sisodia, who just moved down to a wide fine leg and just got enough on it as Douthwaite drifted down the leg side. It almost was like a nutmeg we've seen in the women's game, just clipped almost through his legs. Probably wasn't that bad a ball actually. It was quite lucky that he got something on it. So Middlesex 157 for 6, 1 over to go.
I think that sums up bowling there. I think Deathwaite's pretty much nailed his Yorker and just inside nick past fine leg, who's just gone back and didn't really get rewarded for that, but got rewarded for a slightly worse ball earlier on in the over. So starting to even out, but a big over from Middlesex, and the first we've really seen multiple boundaries in. Yeah,
the wickets in the last couple of overs have fallen to a high full toss and a half tracker down leg side. There we are. Those are the breaks. Middlesex on to 157 for 6, so this is going to be a pretty competitive total, as Neser will bowl to Green on 5 not out. In bowls, Yorker length, but carted away by Green towards mid-wicket. Good fielding there by Carlson. Oh, there's an overthrow, and there could be another one as well. Oh, this is Village. There's almost a second overthrow as Carlson didn't quite find Horton. Michael Hogan says, everyone calm down please, having backed up the second overthrow.
Yeah.
There's a throw at the stumps, I think, from Douthwaite, who was backing up the first one, had a go at the non-strikers, and it was chaos.
They did really well to initially try and save that too. That throw was just a little bit full for Horton to take.
159 for 6 as Green swings and is bowled by another full-length delivery from Michael Neser. Up in the block hole, may even have been a low full toss.
Yeah. Again, I think in terms of execution, I think that first ball was nailed, and that's a knee-high full toss that just seemed to have beaten with a little bit of dip on it. Glamorgan, again, generally being rewarded for some decent bowling throughout, but not necessarily the best of highlight reels, I think, for tonight. But they all count. Neser's been very dependable here and certainly executed his Yorkers, which looks like his favourite delivery here towards the death.
So 4 balls left off this innings, 159 for 7, but even so Glamorgan will have to score at 8+ and over, and that isn't going to be the easiest, as Tom Helm, who spent a few weeks with Glamorgan on loan back in 2014, he is the new batsman, as Neser is in to bowl. That is chipped back over Neser's head, and they'll pick up a single. Throw from Lloyd to Horton, who sends it back to Lloyd straight away. Alex Horton wearing 37, the Newport-born Newbridge Cricket Club product. Just finished his A-levels. Presume he's finished them by now anyway. Hogan into Anderson, big swing from him, and that 6 over long off again, up in the slots. Swing of the arms from Anderson and smashed away well over long off. Yeah. 166 for 7.
Very nice swing from Martin there. Again, having a recognised batter that far down the order who can also bowl. A genuine all-rounder, certainly elongated this Middlesex order, and I think he's certainly going to try and face the last couple of balls here, but that's a great strike and again a much needed boundary for Middlesex.
Neser in, bowls, and that's hit Anderson, I think, on the boot. Run down to short third man, leg back.
Yeah, important little cameo from Martin here. 17 off 5 balls is some great striking. It's probably that little knock in T20, even though it's only 5 balls and not the biggest of scores, can be really important. Striking it over 300 there. Helm on strike for the last ball, so we're looking to scamper the 2 and starting to get very close to that 170, which I think is going to be a very good score on this wicket.
Neser then, final ball of the innings if it's legit, and it's carted back past him over his head for 4 runs. So Middlesex finishing very strongly indeed with 14 off the last over, and they've finished on 171 for 7 as Helm swung sweetly back over the bowler. So a few rueful grins on Glamorgan's faces at the moment, because that at just over 8.5 and over is going to be pretty demanding for the home side in our end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Middlesex would be very pleased. You know, at 80 for 1 at the halfway mark, they were certainly looking to more than double their score. It very much ebbed and flowed throughout that innings, but a really important cameo there by Martin Anderson, and a couple of important boundaries around him as well from the lower order of Middlesex. Takes them to a very comfortable score, I think. I'm assuming it will be probably one of the larger run chases this year at Cardiff if Glammy do get up to it.
There we are. Glamorgan need 172 to win. Middlesex 171 for 7. Top scorer Max Holden 58. Joe Cracknell 33. Michael Hogan claimed 3 wickets for Glamorgan, and we'll be back in just under 10 minutes time at 8 o'clock with commentary here on BBC Sport Online and on the Glamorgan and Middlesex websites. 172 is the Glamorgan target.
As there's a slog sweep out towards square leg, it should be out, it is. Neser again. Bowls him. Fielders are at long on and at mid wicket, but that's down the leg side from Sultan, swept away by right for 4 runs. Bowles driven it through the offside. That's probably the shot of the day from Sussex. As Dowswick charges in, and that's gone in a similar position in the ground. It's run away for 4 runs backward of square. In towards us, Bowles to right, who cuts. And might have found a gap there. Dowswick has got a long way to go and won't make. Is built nicely today, as that's again short outside off stump and smashed away for 4 runs. And Salter bowls, right, gives him the charge and drives straight, and that really scorched over the ground. Lloyd into bowl, cut between point and third man for 4 runs. Lloyd bowls again, that's again cut, and again just wide of third man. Charging in, bowling, hit up towards long on, and that is a fine catch. 12th as Will bowls, and that's smashed away between long on and... Oh no, 4 it is, sorry. Chopped away on the offside. Short ball into Boparu, goes the big shot. He's got right underneath it and could be caught at deep mid on, and is caught. Sussex need more than that. As Alsop smears it towards the boundary, but is caught on the rope. Salter in, this one's up in the air. Has he got all of it? Yes, he has. Harrison Ward as Salter bowls, and should be a stumping. It is. As Wheel bowls up in the block hole, bowl him, Yorks him. And Dowswaite is into bowl. That's a big, big club up towards. Dowswaite bounds in, bowls. Oh, that's big as well. Finn is into bowl. Lloyd smashes this one over mid wicket. 1-2 bounces. 10 for naught. Finn into Lloyd, who drives and is caught at cover. Facing up to Tamal Mills, and is dropped at slip first. Finn into bowl, and that's smashed by North East up towards the crowd, and is caught in the crowd. Rashid bowls short, and Ingram works it through the offside. At least a couple of runs. It may run away from the boundary. Yes, it does. One of whom is really in close as Ingram cuts, and he's got that one past.
Mr. Webb playing
switch
commentator,
it on and switch it off again.
Broadcaster, technician. Interesting to see, actually, there's a slipping and no mid-wicket. I think he's predominantly looks to bring it back, but he might run it across Lloyd to try and get an early edge.
Behrendorff into bowl to Lloyd and beats him again outside off stump with a good bit of bounce from the tall left armour.
Yeah, I think, again, Lloyd is very strong on that short ball. He's looking to uppercut it a little bit. Over that third man who's up in the ring and also point. A couple of dots here, but Lloydie certainly, when he bats alongside Sam, they've very much got a good thing going. Lloydie's the aggressor and Sam looks to hold the innings together.
Just one half century from David Lloyd. Certainly usually scores quickly, but not there as he's forced to defend that one back out on the offside. Behrendorff with a good tight start. I gather you were catching up with your former Hampshire colleague earlier?
Yes, I briefly bumped into Sam. He's loving life in Cardiff. He's got a young child back in Canterbury, I believe, with his fiancée, so he does some miles in the car, but yeah, loving it up here and certainly started very well, but he's a class above most.
In comes Behrendorff again, bowls to Lloyd, who takes a step down the wicket and swings and is hit on the pad. So difficult start for David Lloyd as he was targeting that short pavilion boundary on the leg side. There is a square leg back as the only outfielder there, but Lloyd not making contact.
No, I think it's a decent option though. That's very much his release shot, and with only 3 on the leg side and a little bit of length to work with from Behrendorff, he's unlucky not to get away to the short side, but he'll be looking for that throughout the game.
So Behrendorff is into Lloyd, who hammers it back past the bowler. That one, I think, will have the pace to run away for 4. Yes, it will. Short boundaries straight here at Sapphire Gardens, and the kids love that one. That's given them something to cheer as the flamethrowers go off as well. Glamorgan underway 4 for naught.
Yeah, genuine flat bat from Lloydie back past the bowler there. Just sweating on that back of a length that the tall Australian looks to hammer away. He's just gambling that he's going to go into the wicket there, and it certainly paid off.
4 for naught, final ball of Behrendorff's first over, and Lloyd cracks it into the offside. He's timed that one nicely, hit it down into the ground, but it still raced away over the outfield, and after 4 dot balls, David Lloyd has 2 boundaries to his credit, and a gif of Lloyd appears on the screen signalling 4 for himself, which is a bit meta really. Yeah. 8 for naught after 1 over, chasing 172.
Yeah, fantastic shot by Di Lloyd there. A little shimmy shake of the back foot to try and put the bowler off, but ultimately stood there and just crunched a classical cover drive through the offside, and even with a deep cover out he stood no chance. So good start there from Glamorgan after a few tough balls.
Yeah, that flew off the bat, that final, that second boundary there, something we didn't see too much of in Middlesex's innings. It's going to be Tom Helm with the second over from the media centre end. He's got a deep cover and a deep square leg. He's having to contend with the sun in his eyes over there. Probably won't. Oh, and we've got some sight screen disruptions once again. This is getting awfully village. And it's Middlesex fielders had to take it upon himself to actually go and tell the steward not to let too many people run.
There's a lot of tellings off tonight from the people on the pitch, isn't there?
There's a few double teapots.
To be fair, they're going at the side of the sight screen, but it's obviously in the batter's eye line somewhere or other.
The stewards are taking off their fluorescent
how will people know they're stewards now?
Oh, it's all kicking off.
Wow. Some real entertainment off the park.
Yeah, who needs the cricket? This is where the drama is. Anyway, Tom Helm is going to bowl his first ball now to Sam Northeast. And it's a good length ball prodded out on the offside. They scamper a single, well run. Single to cover. And
there's already probably the 2 differences in approaches from the batters. Lloydie very much looking to smack that back of the length hard past the fielders, and Sam very comfortably drops into the offside and gets off strike. This slips quickly come out to David Lloyd after the bit of intent shown at the end of the over, with a relatively split field here. Tom Helmer, he missed a few games from the start of the tournament with injury, but he's been quite dependable for them throughout the T20 innings and over the last couple of years.
Helman now to David Lloyd. Oh, and that is huge. That is absolutely clobbered over the bigger boundary, almost into the stands. On that went a long way.
I'm not exactly sure why he started running either.
No, I don't think there was ever any chance of that being anything but 6. That was absolutely enormous. It cleared the boundary road by a good 50-60 metres in the end. Yeah, don't run for those.
And that's pretty much exactly what David Lloyd looks to do. He's Tom Helm's well, a nice top of the stumps ball there, and he's almost swept him right in front of square and a long way over that deep square boundary. Deep mid-wicket's gone. Yeah.
And Helm is in now again, and that's a much better response right in the block hole there. Out to that deep mid-wicket fielder. They don't come back for 2. Well fielded by Chris Green in the end, running round from mid-on. Yeah,
Lloydie's already forced them to go to their change-ups there. Deep mid-wicket and deep square and a straight Yorker early on. I think they're looking to get ahead of this run rate and try and keep it in check as much as they can.
Yeah, try and get ahead in the power play while you can only have those 2 fielders out, of course. Sam Northeast on strike now. Morgan 16 for none. And that's well bowled full length to mid-off as they run through for a single, and they get there. Tom Helm was not too happy that there was a single there. If try and cut down on the singles as much as they possibly can, keep the run rate in check. It's a nice firm on drive, very classical shot from Northeast.
And apparently that bat for Lloydie wasn't quite good enough. He swapped out here. He must have. I'm assuming he broke it on the shot there.
It was huge. I wouldn't be surprised. He's on strike now to Tom Helm. He's in. It's short ball and it's top edged over the keeper for 6. Well, when it's your day. That was banged in short from Tom Helm. David Lloyd accepted the invitation to have a go. Didn't get hold of it at all. It flies off the top edge, straight, almost straight. A straight line over the keeper's head for another 6. So Glamorgan racing away to his total. 23 for naught already, not even 2 overs in.
Yeah, not a bad ball from Helm there. Obviously with his field, he's looking for that straight Yorker and using that mix up into the wicket, and Lloydie's got a nice top edge on that and it's flown off.
Last ball of the over now is in, full of a length, driven nicely by Lloyd, but straight to mid-off. So good finish from Tom Helm. Glamorgan well ahead of the run rate. Of course, we're only 2 overs in. They're 23 for none. David Lloyd has 21 of them, and just the 2 for Sam Northeast. So it's pretty clear already what these two's roles are going to be in this opening partnership.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a slightly different style from Glamorgan here. Obviously, Lloydie's going to try and get ahead of this run rate early on and make the most of the power play. Where Middlesex certainly built up for that back end a bit more. Behrendorff to go again here. I think we'll be likely to see Chris Green bowl some power play overs here once a little bit of pressure is on the Middlesex seamers.
So here's the tall left armour. 21 appearances for his country. Bowls to Northeast, who cuts it to square leg with a nicely timed pull shot, but unfortunately for him, he picked out the fielder on the boundary in front of the pavilion away to our left, as that brings David Lloyd onto strike on 21 not out. Morgan 24 without loss. Steve Eskenazi frantically directing traffic, bringing his cover into the circle and sending mid-wicket back for Lloyd, not surprisingly, as Lloyd chops that one down into the point area, but it's well fielded by Holden coming in, and there's no run. I think it was Holden who, along with Nathan Souter, took over commentary for a championship match we had at Radlett in the tent there, and I think Kevin Hand and myself went off for a cup of tea and left them to it at one point.
I'm glad BBC Wales are getting their money's worth from you then, Webby.
24 for naught. As Behrendorff in, and Lloyd hits it over cover for 4 more. A little bit of footwork there from David Lloyd, just stepped back, gave himself the room. It went head high, but between 2 fielders, and Glamorgan actually is probably overhead high over the circle. 28 for naught.
Yeah, again, nice shot from Lloydie there. He's just rolled his fingers down the side of it and bowled a pretty tight line. Lloydie's just backed away a little bit and cut that quite comfortably over the offside. Starting to give Eskenazi something really to think about here. They've obviously committed to these 2 men who are relatively close to each other as well, at deep square and deep mid-wicket.
28 for naught. Behrendorff bowls, Lloyd carts it down, and that's fine of square leg. That's 4 more. David Lloyd is getting Glamorgan off to an absolute flyer here at Sapphire Gardens, chasing 172. They're 32 for naught in the third.
Yeah, again, it's easy to say in the power play, but you know, in this modern day game, he's becoming relatively predictable with this field. Lloydie's played some very nice shots. Just missed a fraction short, and Lloydie's accessed both sides of the wicket here. Behrendorff looking to go back to his stock ball and maybe just push it slightly fuller and make Lloydie play a shot off the top of the stumps.
A little conference between the brains trust, the men in pink, as Behrendorff is in, bowls and hits Lloyd's possibly on the backside as they go through for a leg by. Oh, hang on, there's no signal. Must have been a fraction of bat involved there somewhere.
Yeah, another big swing from Lloydie, better length there from Behrendorff, and just notice he was running in already cross seam, so he's not bothered about trying to swing it. He's just looking to get a little bit of variable bounce from the middle of the wicket if possible.
Last ball of the third over, 33 for naught, chasing 172 here on BBC Sport Online. As Behrendorff is in, bowls and North East plays that one straight to point. Holden fields, 33 for naught, 10 off Behrendorff's second over, and well, Middlesex have already used 2 out of the 4 allocation of the guy who presumably is meant to be their lead strike bowler.
Yeah, I think so. They're obviously gambling a little bit there, trying to get by an early wicket. Behrendorff's done it across the globe now in multiple formats and has been very consistent especially in the power play overs. They're going to Martin Anderson here, their third seamer if you like. Again, a little bit surprised Chris Green hasn't been given the ball. He tends to be a known commodity, and even in the tough overs up top, bowling off spin. A similar field here. Anderson tends to build quite a lot of change-ups. Mixes pace a little bit, and we'll look again for that straight Yorker to David Lloyd. Full offside up, deep square, deep mid-wicket.
That over just proves just how difficult it actually is bowling in the power play. You miss your length or line just ever so slightly, and with just 2 fielders allowed out on the boundary, it could be a brutal business. As Anderson is in now to Lloyd, who's down on one knee, sweeping. Very fine. Is it going to rate for 4? Yes, it is. So another boundary for David Lloyd, who moves on to 34 from 15 balls. Glamorgan 37 for none in the 4th over.
Looked like he went straight to a knuckleball there. Lloydie's picked it nicely and controlled that line. Again, as Fionn was saying there, with 2 men out here, you become relatively predictable to this tight line, and Lloydie's controlled that behind square very well.
Anderson in now, looking for a reply, and oh, that is beautifully played. Reverse swept over square, over point. Sorry for yet another boundary. David Lloyd is seeing it like a beach ball out there. He moves on to 38 from 16. What a shot that was. Pace on the ball, good length, and he's just reverse swept it wristily over point's head for 4 runs. Don't think we saw that one coming.
Again, he's just shimmy shaked away to the leg side and stood his ground, and Anderson's actually bowled a very good line almost towards where that foot went, but Lloydie's controlled that right over point. It's an unbelievable shot on the power play.
What can Anderson do now? He can bowl a wide. This is David Lloyd has really put Middlesex on the back foot here. That we were saying at the break that 172 was going to be a very difficult target for Glamorgan, and of course there is a very long way to go yet, but they have had no answers for David Lloyd. He's come out of the blocks so quickly.
Yeah, I think they're pretty desperate with this field. They've been trying to just get Lloydie off strike now and trying to bowl a few to Sam here.
Anderson is in now, and it's another wide down the leg side. It's not been the start that they would have wanted from their third seamer, but Tom Helm's 1 over was dispatched by Lloyd. Anderson seems to be getting the same treatment. He has a conference with his bowlers too. Just go back to basics, you think? Just go back to basics. That's what Hogan and Michael Neser did so well in Glamorgan's innings. As Anderson is in now. There it is. There's that back of a length ball. Lloyd can't do much about that other than dab it into the offside for a single.
Yeah, and obviously the key part of this partnership is now this really allows Sam to take his time, get his eye in, and just knock the ball around. There's no scoreboard pressure on him. They're well ahead of the rate here. Already up to 12 runs and over. That required rate just starting to slip under 8 and over, which they'll be very comfortable with.
Anderson just gets a bit of a false start. Still 3 balls to go, seeing as there were those 2 wides. He's in now to North East. And it's flicked for 6 over square leg. That was timed beautifully as Anderson just pulled on a leg stump. And with no fielder out at square leg, that was asking to be hit to the boundary, and North East obliges.
Yeah, again, that's over the long boundary. And again, from Sam North East now piling pressure on from both batters. It's a difficult place to be. Martin Anderson already 16 off only 3 balls this over, so he's really feeling the pressure here.
Yeah, this is a tough start for Middlesex's bowlers.
It's the 50 partnership as well,
already
3.4 overs.
Yeah, 50 for none. 2 balls left of the 4th from Anderson, who bowls a slower ball to Sam North East, and it is guided perfectly. Cut off the back foot for 4, past wide to third man, and Middlesex just have got no answers. That's not a bad ball, that is on off stump. Back of a length, as we were just calling for them to do, bowl basics. That's just beautifully played.
It's a lovely shot there from Sam, and again, as the guy who tends to hold the innings together and not a massive striker this season, he's got ahead of the game pretty quickly.
Anderson's in now, and that's pulled to square leg for a single, which closes the over, which is an expensive one. 3 fours, a 6 and 2 wides from it.
22 off.
As you do.
Morgan 55 for 9. Who on earth would be a bowler?
I think we saw pretty much everything though. We saw a sweep, reverse sweep, little guide down through third man, and another flick over the leg side. So Glammy openers really showing off a little bit here. Here comes the left arm off spin, actually, a Walla Walla Wawita, as we like to say.
Tilam Walla Lawita.
Trying to favour that ball spinning away from the 2 right-handers. Maybe it makes a bit more sense than Chris Green. Been relatively flexible with their spinners in the top 6, but certainly saw a few spin overs coming here.
Well, he bowled really well against Glamorgan at Radlett, taking 3 for 18, but he was the 5th bowler used on that occasion, and he was slowing down Glamorgan in the middle. The young Sri Lankan-born left armour is now fully England qualified. Now what can he do? That's played straight to cover by North East. No run. North East looking rather disappointed that he'd punched that one straight to the fielder. Cover man peering into the low sun, which is setting away to our left. Walla Lawita in, bowls, and North East steps back, tries to cut and misses.
Yeah, just a bit of skid there. Again, a little bit more flight on it than Prem when he bowled, but certainly looking to skid that new ball back and cramp up Sam North East there. Good ball there. Couple of dots.
Much needed by Middlesex, as North East has got that one through the offside cordon, though backward of square, cut away for 4. Pierces the man on that 30-metre fielding circle, and Glamorgan move on to 59 without loss.
They've done fantastically well at missing the field here. Maybe on the flip side, Middlesex seemed to get a little bit unlucky in that power play, playing some nice shots to fielders, but great control from the Glamorgan batsmen so far, as well as a bit of power shown when needed.
So Glamorgan already ahead of what Middlesex had in the power play, which is 44 for 1. And there's 9 balls left of it, as North East drives handsomely beyond long off. A sprawling attempt by Joe Cracknell on the boundary, flung himself at it, but that was beautifully timed by North East, who's playing pure cricket shots while David Lloyd muscles it round.
Yeah, certainly a flying start for Sam as well. Lloydie obviously the natural aggressor, but when you've got it coming from both ends here, the run rate up to almost 14 and over from this opening pair from Glamorgan.
North East 22 off 11, comes down the wicket and hits it into the sight screen for... No, it's just bounced short. I thought that was heading for the sight screen, but it was... it bounced just inside the boundary and was fielded on the boundary by Cracknell, running round well, and Middlesex do well to keep that down to a single. 64 for naught.
Yeah, Glammy piling on the pressure here. I think they've smelt a little bit of blood here in the power play. Certainly looking to cash in. They're already 64 off 5 overs, going well over 10s out of this power play. Be interesting to see. It looks like they're going to carry on going, but they can certainly calm down and knock it around for a few overs if they really needed to. But I don't think that's the style they're going for tonight.
Lloyd on the strike, long on mid-wicket, a back. As Walalawita bowls down leg side, smashed away. 4, is that 4 or 6? Just bounced inside the ropes, and Lloyd managed to pull it round a little bit, so there was no danger of picking out the square leg fielder as he did on one previous occasion here at Sophia. So the Glamorgan run rate continues to rocket along. It's 68 for naught off 5 overs.
Yeah, interesting. That comparison's just come up on the screen. Middlesex 34 for 1 at the same time, which we didn't think was too bad of a start, but Glamorgan really come out and piled some pressure on. Good control shown by Lloydie, again favouring that sweep shot. Seen some real touch in between the power, which is good to see. Here comes the off-spinner Green, so I think they're going to their bankers here just to try and control this last over of fielding restrictions.
Yeah, it looks like a different pitch to what Middlesex were batting on. There have been some poor deliveries, but Middlesex have not bowled terribly at all. They've just missed their lines and lengths ever so slightly, and that's just the brutal nature of bowling in the power play, and Glamorgan have capitalised. And spin at both ends now as Chris Green has the unenviable task of trying to close out this power play. He starts back of a length, just a single, starts well with those 2 fielders on the leg side. The score moves on to 69 for none. Sorry.
Green, just nice tall bouncy action for an off spinner. Very good at controlling his length and looking to get hit out to these long on and deep mid wicket fielders. Be interesting to see. I think Lloydie might go to this sweep relatively quickly to try and get under the ball. As I say that, the sweep man's gone back, so I think this is very much going to go into the wicket here with a deep square and a deep mid wicket now, both straight men up.
He's inviting that reverse sweep as well. He's left a gap there for him, almost challenging him to play that reverse sweep between short third and point. As Green is in, and there is the reverse sweep, but it's completely missed. Beats the keeper and it races away for 4 byes. That is brutal. That is just brutal.
Be interesting to see where that's missed again. He missed a long way leg side, and Ian Blackwell's gone for the byes again.
Who'd be a keeper?
No. Well,
that was a good ball. You can see why Lloyd again wanted to play that shot. The gap was there. And keeper's been hard done by.
There's no slowing up here.
73 for none, 5.2 overs gone. As Chris Green's in for his 3rd delivery. Back of a length, chipped just past the fielder at mid-on. Is he going to get 4? The dive, well stopped there at the cow corner boundary. But they run through. Did they get 3 in the end? Yes, they did. They get 3. Well saved a run. There's a big pocket of the ground there at cow corner, those 2. Joe Cracknell and Luke Holman had a lot of ground to cover. Nice deft touch, Lloydie, just coming out of the wicket and just controlling it wide of mid-on, who was in the ring, and find that gap nicely. Good stop on the boundary by Holman. As Green is in again, back of a length, well bowled, just dabbed down to short third, no run. So Chris Green, as much as that 4 byes was very unlucky, he started nicely here. Couple of dot balls. Yeah, I can't imagine Sam's going to take too many risks here. He's just going to see out this power play that's already taken Glammy well ahead of the game. That run rate already down below 7s out of the power play. There's no need to take any risks now for these last 2 balls. But nice. As I say that, Sam Northeast gets down on 1 knee and slog sweeps the spinner over square leg for 4 more. So, what do I know? That's a great shot again. I think that's the one, if you're premeditating, Chris Green very much favours it into the wicket, and Sam got under that nicely and just controlled it over the 2 men quite far behind square there. Again, just looking at the replays, that's not a bad ball. It's just a pretty standard length delivery on off stump. It's just perfectly executed by Northeast, who's raced along to 28 from 15 balls. I know Green has a good Yorker in him, so he might be looking to this to try and clean it. Okay, here we go. Last ball of the power play, and it's back of a length, and it's punched through the covers for 4 more. Sam Northeast moves on to 32. That is a remarkable power play from Glamorgan. 84 from it for the loss of no wicket. And a lot of those shots from Sam Northeast in particular have just been classic cricket shots. And Yeah, Middlesex struggling.
Yeah, again, a tidy ball from Green. He's pretty much bowled it into middle and leg, which is where he's aiming, but I guess if there's anything to say, it's relatively predictable. There were 6 pretty similar balls in there. It's difficult to bowl too many different ones with only 2 men out, but Glamorgan have played incredibly well here to give them a huge boost in this run chase.
Yes, for our London listeners, it's not that Middlesex have bowled particularly badly, as Glamorgan have batted really well, and that must be one of their highest totals that I can remember in the power play overs. We'll get maybe the statos on that
first 6 overs though.
As Lloyd on strike cuts, and we'll get a single with a half stop from Holden at short third man. This is Tom Helm into his second over. Middlesex have been through 5 bowlers already.
A bit of a catch-22 here. Obviously Middlesex trying to stem the flow, but they certainly need wickets sooner rather than later. Gone back to Helm, who has a great array of deliveries, favours the back of the hand slower ball, which he gets some real good shape on.
85 for naught, Glamorgan in the 7th, chasing 172, as that's hit into the offside by David Lloyd for a single. 86 for naught. As a batter here, Anirin, how far do you say, well, we've done really well with this all-out assault, let's continue it, or how far do you say, right, we only need under 6.5 and over, we can knock it around? Yeah,
I think, look, they're certainly not going to put their shots away here. I think they might dial down the risk just a fraction now there's 5 men back on the rope, but they're certainly, the way they're playing, it'd be silly not to keep taking the game. And as we all know, with the point system relatively close, net run rate comes a big part of it.
That's a good Yorker from Helm up in the block hole, and Lloyd just blocks it out, and it's fielded by the bowler in his follow-through.
Yeah, obviously 84, they almost killed off half the score there in the first 6 overs. I think they'll rein it back in a fraction, but I said if they're feeling this good as a batter in white ball cricket, certainly the encouragement these days is to play it as you see it and keep piling pressure on this Middlesex bowling attack.
The North East, who's been going at 105, so just over a run a ball through the competition, is almost going at 2 runs a ball at the moment. Lloyd on strike, and that's a very cruel wide. Lloyd was moving across the stumps there. Bowler trying probably to target leg stump, and it just missed the stumps, and it's a wide.
Yeah, I think that was his back of the hand slower ball there. Pace was down on the speed gun. As he said, it was pretty well bowled. It's just slid down the leg side, and I think Ian Blackwell would be pretty happy that at the other end, but from Billy Taylor's end, he was more than happy to give that a wide.
Hellman bowls, slow ball edge for 4, past a diving keeper, and David Lloyd reaches his half century of just 23 deliveries, acknowledges the cheers around Sophia Gardens. That was not one of his better shots, but it's raced away for 4. He's hit 8 4s and 2 6s in that half century off 23 balls.
Yeah, brilliant knock from Lloydie. Great leadership from the skipper shown throughout in the field, and now an absolute onslaught with this bat here. Sam North East going very well at the other end, but Lloydie's been, I think this has been brewing for a little while. He's had some good starts, but you'd be keen to crack on and see this game through.
Yeah, 1 half century so far in the competition. That's his 2nd this season. As Helm bowls, Lloyd flicks that one on the leg side and has picked up 4 more. How has he bisected those 2 fielders on the leg side in front of the pavilion? They're not that far apart, but absolutely in the middle of them. Must have been perfectly timed by Lloyd off his legs. And the scoreboard is struggling to keep up, you'd have thought here. 95 for naught.
Yeah, I think Helm's executed really well there. I'm not sure there's much more he could do, but Lloydie's found the gap between deep mid wicket and deep square very quickly on that shorter boundary.
Here's Helm in to bowl, just run down to 3rd man by Lloyd, single taken. 96 for no wicket, and that is after just 7 overs. And for our listeners of the visiting side, well, they're just being pummeled at the moment without bowling too many bad balls, as we keep saying.
No, I said it's small margins at this level of the game, and ultimately I think it's come down to some incredible striking from both ends here, certainly led by captain David Lloyd. Going to the spin of Holman here, so some leg spin. They've got a lot of options in this bowling attack, Middlesex, and feel relatively well balanced, but the Glamorgan batters have dealt with everything that's come at them so far.
It just seemed when Middlesex was batting that they just couldn't get anything away, and we were wondering whether it was the pitch, whether it was the bowling. And as Nick just said, Middlesex haven't bowled badly at all. They haven't disgraced themselves at all, but it just seems everything is coming off the middle of the bat and finding the gap perfectly. So Luke Holman in now, swept by David Lloyd, but just a short fine leg. It's not timed at all. On the rare occasion he doesn't get hold of one for a single.
Yeah, they're just searching for a wicket here. That's what they need, just a new batter and trying to bring some calm to the next few overs. It's going to be very difficult to stop this run chase now without taking lots of wickets. Run right down below 6 and over, and Glamorgan looking comfortable at the minute. Need a bit of some special bowling here.
97 for none in the 8th over. Holman is into northeast, just back of a length. It's pulled fine and pulled for 4. He barely had to touch that, just guided it around the corner. Did Sam Northeast. It was quite short actually, and on leg side, probably one of the poorer balls that Middlesex have bowled. But even with 5 men out on the boundary, the runs continue to flow, and that's the 100 up for Glamorgan from 7.2 overs, 101 for none.
And the 100 partnership as well, obviously. It's been a great start by both batters here. Feels like Sam's just been ticking away at the other end, but he's flying as himself. I'd be interested to know what the record is actually for an opening stand in Glamorgan T20s. I'm sure Webby's got some.
Let's get Nick on the case. As Holman is in, and northeast drives beautifully through the covers for 4 more. This is remarkable batting from Glamorgan, and that is straight out of the textbook from Sam Northeast, driven beautifully along the ground, dissecting the cover fielders.
He's batting in a very different style here to David Lloyd. Some very classical shots here, but getting the reward on this quick outfield and some short boundaries.
Yeah, he still has 41 from 19 as he rocks back in his crease.
Mid-on was up.
Straight to mid-on. They think about coming back for 2, settle for 1. Joe Cracknell looks as if he's
snuck away from us there, but the mid-on has come into the ring here, which is very unusual to see against a spinner.
Brave.
I think they're looking to buy a wicket to get themselves going.
That's Holman's in again. Glamorgan 106 for none. A short ball punched off the back foot to the fielder on the cover boundary, so very welcome single for Luke Holman, the bowler. As you can just sense, Middlesex is just desperate for a wicket now. They are itching for a wicket. The last ball of the 8th over from Holman is floated up nicely, driven down the ground just for a single. So Holman pulled that back nicely in the end, actually having gone for those 2 boundaries. But still, Glamorgan racing along, 108 for none after just 8 overs.
Yeah, Glamorgan flying along here, looking very comfortable. Middlesex trying their best and going throughout their varied bowling lineup, but no success so far. I think without the ball's very much in Glamorgan's court, let's put it that way.
Naren, you might have been playing in the
game
in which Glamorgan got their record first wicket partnership.
Oh, conveniently.
It was in your first season in 2014.
Right.
Was he part of it?
He wasn't part of it, no.
Mr. Rudolph.
Mr. Rudolph, yes.
And I'm trying to think who was opening at the time.
Same opponents, Middlesex.
Was it David Lloyd opening at that point?
No. It was at Richmond or London Welsh.
Maybe Jim Allenby.
Correct.
There we go.
There we are.
And what was that?
That was 136.
So very much
doable.
It's doable.
I don't want to speak too soon. There's a game.
That's probably
again mid-on up
a
here
wicket
to Sam.
Call. Wallaluita bowls
Straight.
And Sam Northeast smacks it over mid-on, over long on, and 3/4 the way up the side screen for 6.
Yeah, again, obviously with Long on back, it's probably a different story, but they're bringing him up into the ring to try and create something, and Sam stood there and just hit it from the crease. Again, pretty tidy ball, but the form these two are in, it was very comfortably over the row and very close to getting into the taff.
So North East on 49 off 22, and next ball is cracked through the offside. There'll be at least a single. They'll come back for a second run. Lloyd is comfortably home, so North East has matched David Lloyd 50 off 23 balls. Both batters reaching the half century in the same number of deliveries, and North East hit 7 4s and 2 6s. Next delivery worked on the leg side by North East. They'll look for 2 potentially here, out towards mid-wicket. No, they'll settle for the single. They're a bit weary potentially. But
brilliant knock by Sam there.
That's
really shown his class. I think also an important thing with Glamorgan, he's shown a change of pace, which he hasn't quite been able to do so far this year. So great to see, and a great knock from both ends.
Lloyd punches the next ball all along the ground straight to cover. There's a diving stop by Holden, and it's a rare dot ball. 117 for naught, Glamorgan, chasing 172 to win.
Under 5 and over with 10 wickets in hand.
Next delivery, pulled by Lloyd. They'll go through for a quick single, and the throw hits the stumps, and North East was just about home. The ball cannoned away. North East turned and eventually looked for an overthrow, but I think Lloyd had put the brakes on at the far end and wasn't in a position to come back. 118 without loss, Glamorgan. This is the last ball of the 9th over here on BBC Sport Online with the Nyron Donald Fionn win and myself, Nick Webb. 118 for naught, 54 to win, 11 overs to do it, and this should be a stroll for Glamorgan, but you never know. Lloyd, North East rather, cuts hard for a single out to the point boundary. 119 for no wicket, Glamorgan, off 9 overs here on BBC Sport Online. This is one of the most remarkable T20 innings I've seen from Glamorgan.
It's been brilliant. The pressure they put on from the start, their array of strokes they've shown, and just clean ball striking really, which Middlesex struggled throughout with. You know, even Sam's classical cover drives have been beating the deep fielders, and obviously Lloyd's really shown his variation tonight. Looking very comfortable for Glamorgan at the minute, and what we thought was going to be a relatively tricky chase, they've got out ahead pretty early on.
Yeah, shows what we know, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Luke Holman, the leg spinner, on for his second over. His first went for 12, which is actually not been too bad given how well these two have batted. He's in now to North East, who clubs that out onto the leg side to long on. They come back for a second, good running. So it's picked the gap nicely there between long on and cow corner. It's a nice start there from Sam North East. They just take singles now, to be honest. They won't, but they could.
Yeah, Holman's just missed a little bit short here. He's trying to give it some air to try and get some movement off the pitch.
It's just so risky with those short straight boundaries, isn't it? And that's a flatter delivery. Just cracked off the back foot to the cover boundary for a single. Moves the score on to 122 for none. David Lloyd has 59, North East 56. Holman is in again now, fuller delivery, and that's driven nicely by Lloyd, but only for a single to long off. So nice start this from Holman. Let's say that just because he hasn't gone for a boundary, which has been the trend of the innings.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not been a bowler's innings. This is some brutal bowling figures. As he bowls, he sees North East charging him, so he drops it a little bit shorter. That's well bowled. Just a single out to cover, adapted nicely there, seeing North East looking to hit him down the ground. Yeah,
nice control again. Another decent ball in between some very clean striking here tonight from Glamorgan. That record just creeping up on us.
It's nearly there. As Holmes in reverse swept. Oh, good hand from the fielder at point. Saved a boundary there. Tried to get it in that gap between point and short third. There's a diving stop.
So difficult to defend a guy who's comfortable sweeping both ways, just with only 5 men out. that point fielder tends to always be in the ring. So if you're comfortable reverse sweeping, there's usually a boundary against spin there.
Only 5. The women only get 4. I think yourself lucky.
I know. That's a tough crack as a bowler.
That's punched out to cover for a single by Sam North East. The score moves on to 126 for none at the halfway mark. Glamorgan well ahead. The target 172. 10 overs to go. 10 wickets in hand.
Yeah, again, just the ball looks like it's skidding onto the bat slightly better, as well as the sunshine starts to go down behind the stand. The lights have been on for a while now, but it certainly looks like it's been a tale of two halves. And you know, whether that's been down to good bowling, poor batting, or whether the wickets changed slightly, we're not quite sure. But Glamorgan to come out the stables very hot here, and don't look like there's any sign of slowing up, scoring off every ball that last over again.
And Steve Askenazi is certainly earning his corn tonight as Middlesex captain. He could probably do with about 20 fielders out there. 126 for naught as North East muscles that one out towards mid-wicket. Green, a diving stop, half stop. It was hit very hard, and they'll come back for a second run as the return throw sends a couple of gulls scattering and swooping over Sapphire Gardens. And Lloyd is North East's obviously been watching Lloyd's muscle, and he carted that one as hard as he could as well.
Yeah, changed man, Sam, since he's moved across the border.
Next ball from Anderson is smashed over backward point for 4 more by Sam North East, who has now overtaken David Lloyd. And whatever Lloyd has done, North East has now matched it.
It's another brilliant strike. Seems like every shot they've taken on is the right one to the right ball, and the cleanest of striking tonight on the show from Glamorgan. Great to see, especially with so many young kids in here, potentially watching their first game. Hopefully that'll draw a bit of a crowd next time that they're at home.
Friday night is Glamorgan's remaining home game against Somerset. 132 for naught. North East on strike on 64. Pulls down towards backward square. 4 more. That has equalled the Glamorgan record for the first wicket in T20 cricket.
And as easy as you like, Sam picks the gap brilliantly there. Again, backs away. Anderson's followed him relatively well. Maybe he just missed slightly out of the block hole, and as the Glamorgan batters have seemed to be doing all night, just missed the fielder there. Good diving effort again from Cracknell, but just a little bit out of his reach.
136 for naught. Middlesex, well, more consultations between bowler and captain, but it's one of those nights for Glamorgan as Anderson is in to bowl, and North East almost fell over there as he smashed it flat back through the offside, and that is a new record for the first wicket for Glamorgan. 137 between David Lloyd, who has 61, and Sam North East, who has 69.
And there she is, as easy as you like. Well, potentially a few more runs to come. Glammy will be very, very much looking forward to knocking this off naught down if that's at all possible. But Middlesex probably deserve a wicket for a couple of decent balls throughout. That is a no ball from Anderson as he bangs one in short. Lloyd tried to uppercut, didn't get anything on it because it was some distance above his head. And Billy Taylor, the umpire, despite being a former bowler himself, is merciless. 139 for naught. There's another record potentially coming up. Oh, I'm excited to hear. As that is driven through third man, and that is run away for 4, and that is now an all-time Glamorgan T20 partnership record for any wicket, beating 141 put together by Jacques Rudolph and Colin Ingram in 2015. And the runs keep on flowing at Sapphire Gardens. It's 143 for naught. Yeah, and just like tonight, found the gap again. It was a pretty thick outside edge. Martin Anderson's again change of pace quite nicely there. It's just done him a little bit in the flight, and Lloyd, he just can't put a foot wrong at the minute. Split that gap just behind point. Next delivery
is up in the block hole. Lloyd drives up towards mid-on. Single taken, 144 for no wicket after 11 overs. And if that sounds unlikely, London listeners, I'm afraid it is correct. And Glamorgan just need 28 runs to reach 172. So it's 28 off 9.
Just notice a young Tom Bevan as well running some drinks on tonight. Called up into the squad after some decent performances in the second team, so I've been told. So it's nice to see Glamorgan with a few youngsters involved and in and around the squad. But said there's as an opening bat sitting there, he's thinking, well, maybe it's a little bit tough for my first thought to get into this lineup.
And a spare a thought for Martin Anderson, who has bowled 2 overs for 40.
Yeah,
that's not nice to be on the receiving end.
Tough night, unfortunately.
And as Luke Coleman is in now, who has bowled his 2 overs for 19. And that is dug out nicely, fields off his own bowling.
He's out then. Just short of his ground, I reckon, if he hit.
It was a difficult angle he was fielding in his follow-through. Wasn't able to hit. Don't think they quite thought that he was going to be able to get there off his own bowling. But again, the luck goes Glamorgan's way. They move on to 145 for none. And Luke Coleman looks at the ball as if to say, what on earth are you doing? Do me a favour.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. Again, as I mentioned briefly earlier, with how close these group stages can get, every over is very important in terms of run rate. So Glamorgan will be sort of pretty keen to finish it as and when they can.
Oh, and that is driven over the fielder at short cover for 4 more. There were some cries of catch it, but Max Holden is not the tallest, and it was convincingly over his head actually, and probably would have cleared most people's heads in the end. 4 more to Sam Northeast, who's on to 73 from 34. David Lloyd at the other hand has 67 from 35.
Sam really showing his class there. Just again back to the orthodox cricket shot over extra cover. I think that'll be one for the purists, even in the pyjama format, if you like.
149 for none. As Holman in the 12th over drops that short, nicely bowled, just back of a length, and it's defended back to the bowler for no run.
Pretty rare dot there, unfortunately, from the Middlesex fan side.
Yeah, it's been tough on the Middlesex bowlers. As that's nicely bowled again, back of a length, short fine leg does the fielding, just a single to Sam Northeast. That brings up the 150 total and 150 partnership, as Nick said, the all-time record for a Glamorgan partnership, and the Glamorgan crowd applauds the 150 here at Sapphire Gardens. Holman is in, flights that up nicely, it's in the air, is it going to be caught? Yes it is. Great Middlesex catch. Have a wicket. That is a very fine catch indeed on the long off boundary. It's not celebrated much by the Middlesex bowlers. They have had a very difficult 12 overs here. 150 for 1 as David Lloyd departs for 67 from 36 balls, and the crowd stands to their feet and applauds a fine innings. They've got Glamorgan off to, well, I say an incredible start. They've pretty much done the work, but that was a magnificent partnership between Lloyd and Sam Northeast of exactly 150.
Yeah, brilliant knock by Lloydie there. Showed his range of shots as well as his power, and I think he was just looking to kind of control that over the extra cover rather than giving it a full swing. But he's killed the game off there with a brilliant knock, and Glammy going to be cruising to a victory at this rate.
But credit to Luke Holman, he's bowled very nicely indeed, the leg spinner in his 3rd over. He deserved that wicket. Actually, Middlesex did deserve that wicket. They haven't bowled badly at all. It's just been an onslaught from Glamorgan.
Yeah, T20 cricket, I think it's just one of those nights, and usually when one batter or bowler's on fire, they can win you a game, but when you have one batting at both ends, it's very difficult to compete with, regardless of the wicket and the conditions.
And Colin Ingram,
not batter to be walking to the crease with.
Not who you want to see when you've just conceded 150 in 12 overs. There's 1 ball to go in Luke Holman's 3rd over.
Yeah, it's been great to see Colin, most importantly, donning the whites. Obviously, I think everyone knows his exploits in white ball cricket, and he's got a few chances in the red ball as well recently.
And he gets down on one knee and sweeps his first ball to short fine leg for just a single, so he hogs the strike from Sam Northeast. And at the end of the 12th over, Glamorgan move on to 151 for 1, target of 172.
So certainly something for the youngsters to enjoy this evening in the setting sunshine, and the thousands who've packed the Fire Gardens certainly have had their entertainment value, with 4s and 6s flying all over the place off the bats of these two Glamorgan openers as they look to finish this game off quickly. There are 21 runs needed to win by Glamorgan, and they have 8 overs in which to do it. And at halfway, well, we thought Middlesex might be marginal favourites, but some astonishing hitting from Lloyd and Northeast, and excellent stroke play as well. It just hasn't been pure power. Ingram on strike, Green to bowl from the River Taff end, and Ingram plays that one away into the offside for a single. 152 and for 1.
Yeah, not much Middlesex can do here. 5 men in the ring there to Colin to try and put some pressure on, but ultimately he's got plenty of time to just try and knock it round. Again, just with one eye on the run rate, they'll certainly be keen to keep going at a decent licks, which should give them a positive run rate if my rough calculations are good, which also knocks them above Hampshire, I think is more than likely.
And Iron says wincing.
Yeah, well, we have a game in hand, so.
Dot ball there as Northeast played straight to cover, as Green is in, bowls to Northeast, who pulls and gets 4 runs to square leg. And at the moment it's as if these Glamorgan batters are actually placing the ball beautifully between fielders.
I think that's actually been probably the highlight of the innings, really. I think Lloyd showed some great power early on, but ultimately they've just played strong shots to beat the field, and sometimes you can make T20 cricket look a lot easier than it is when you do that.
156 for 1. Next delivery, dot ball, played to cover by Northeast.
Yeah, Sam has really shown again. He scored all the way around the ground, and I think as a Glamorgan supporter and as in terms of the guys in their camp, for Sam to kind of show the acceleration he's shown this innings is really positive.
There's another bit of acceleration. It's a huge 6 over mid wicket. Northeast
to the school,
smashing that away towards the school kids, and Glamorgan just racing towards victory. They're not taking their foot off the pedal at all. It's another 6 from Northeast. It's 162 for 1. 10 runs to win.
Just a little shimmy down the wicket, and as we've seen all night, a very good swing from Sam and good contact.
Northeast on to 84, steps back, cracks that one through the covers. Hasn't quite found the boundary ropes this time. It is just a single.
And again, another over with multiple boundaries in. I think that's probably been the tale throughout the evening. Middlesex struggle to find the ropes regularly, and Glamorgan certainly haven't.
It is 163 for 1 in 13 overs only on BBC Sport Online. Ingram has 85, Northeast has 85, Ingram has 2, David Lloyd out for 87. I keep reading the wrong numbers here, there's so many stats flying around. Lloyd out for 67, we'll get there eventually. 14th over may well be the last one at this rate. Fionn?
Yeah, it's job done pretty much for Glamorgan now. They've got 7 overs to score 9 runs, so barring a complete miracle, I'd like to think Sam Northeast and Colin Ingram could steer Glamorgan home from here. As it's Behrendorff to bowl the 14th, and he starts with a dot just squirted to the point fielder.
Yeah, big change of pace there, down to 60 mile an hour from Behrendorff. He's
bowled his 2 overs for 18, which is actually very good going. The rates are up at 12s, 13s, 20 for Martin Anderson. So 9 and over is very respectable, the way that Glamorgan have batted. If they'd batted first, they'd be on for 200 plus, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good toss for them as well. It's given them some really well bowled.
Behrendorff bowls perfect Yorker. Nothing Sam North East can do about that apart from just dig it out.
I think bar obviously some special batting from the Glamorgan players. It certainly seems like this wicket's just flattened out and skidded on a little bit better second time round as the dust kind of comes in.
Could they have brought Behrendorff on a bit earlier perhaps if he is
it's difficult.
a strike bowler?
The game's been lost already unfortunately, but certainly I think they dealt with him really well in that power play when he was at his most dangerous.
As he's in now, short ball over the shoulder of Sam North East, who moved in line with the ball, so it's not given a wide or a no ball, it's just his one overhead height for the over. And the school kids are certainly enjoying what they've seen so far. There is some noise out there for those poor teachers and parents to contend with. Don't envy them at all, to be honest. Behrendorff's in, and Sam North moves across his stumps and ramps that over his shoulder, over short fine leg for 4 more. Just shuffling outside his off stump. Probably wasn't actually there to play that shot too. Behrendorff followed him nicely, didn't give him much room to swing his arms at it, but it was just the pace on the ball. He flew to the boundary. He
saw Sam move across his stumps early, then followed him and bowled a nice pace off delivery, and Sam's ended almost slapping it round the corner rather than using all the pace. He's done well to miss 45 there, and again another decent ball by Behrendorff has found the ropes.
Just 5 to win now for Glamorgan. North East on strike. He moves back in his crease and he's out. He's chipped it straight to short third. He departs for 89 from 45. The crowd rises to its feet, and rightly so. What an innings that has been from Sam North East. If they had a few more runs to chase, he did deserve 100 there. But well bowled from Jason Behrendorff, just sticking with that full length, drawing the edge, and a simple catch to short third.
Yeah, incredible knock there from Sam. Real pleasure to watch him and Lloydie open the band today and set a few records. So again, I think the quality of Sam's shown through. Obviously, as a red ball format player, he needs no mention, but I think certainly he's really revolutionised his T20 game since he's moved up to Cardiff, and it's been a great signing.
He walked straight towards the school kids there as well, and they are going absolutely
He's done a bit of a lap of honour there.
Yeah, he's really soaking in.
He was going to go up to the dressing room and thought, no, I think I batted well enough to go back to the dugout.
Give him a bit of stick for that. Yeah, the hugs from the dugout, and the kids are still screaming.
Yeah. Again, nice wicket for Behrendorff.
Yeah, deserved
some good balls throughout.
And it's Kieran Carlson on strike, needing just 5 to win in the 14th over. Behrendorff is in, and that is prodded to point for no run. Glamorgan 167 from 14 overs, just 5 needed to win from the 15th. Colin Ingram on strike on 2, and Carlson, the new batter, yet to score.
So Glamorgan will be improving their net run rate by a considerable margin, moving 2 points ahead of Middlesex, but doing severe damage to the Londoners' run rate in the process. And it looks as though it should be all done and dusted in the 15th over. Well, they've picked a good night to they open the door to the school kids tonight, because if they know anything about cricket, they should remember this one. It's Martin Anderson to bowl the 15th over to Colin Ingram, as Ingram tries to smash that one away on the offside, but it's called a wide outside off stump.
Yeah.
Oh yes, seeing the replay,
probably it's
a bit wider than I thought.
I don't think we'd have minded if Billy gave Martin a little bit of leeway there.
He's a stickler for the rules, the laws, isn't he, Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, I think Colin was very much throwing the kitchen sink at that as well.
4 to win for Glamorgan. Next ball is over Ingram's head, and that'll be a no ball, and another 2 onto the total, 170 for 2. Anderson marches back, muttering under his breath. Well, I hope it's under his breath because he really wouldn't want the umpire to hear.
I'd forgive him if it was out loud, to be fair, tonight.
170 for 2. 2 to win. 6 overs to get him in. Ingram slogs this one towards the mid-wicket boundary. They'll go through for a single. Scores level.
Yeah, the Middlesex bowling attack has tried everything they could. I think the Glamorgan batting was just too good on the night. And with 1 to win, Kieran Carlson on strike. It'd be nice for him to hit the winning runs here.
Here comes Martin Anderson then from the River Taff end. 1 to win. Bowls to Carlson, who smashes that one over mid-wicket. Will pick up just a couple of runs, and that is the winning shot from Kieran Carlson as Glamorgan reach 172 for 2. They've won by 8 wickets with 5.4 overs to spare, and the crowd here at Sapphire Gardens tonight have been treated to one of the best batting displays that Glamorgan have put together in T20 cricket. A record stand for any wicket of 150 between Sam Northeast, who made 89, and David Lloyd, who made 67. And Aaron Donald, that's a night to remember.
Absolutely. I think the school kids are going to be home in time for bed as well. No, it's incredible striking from the top 2 in the Glamorgan batting lineup in Lloydie and Northeast. I think they'll be thoroughly pleased with how they've gone as a partnership throughout this year, and commiserations obviously to Middlesex, who felt like throughout, even at the halfway stage, felt like they were probably just on top. But again, as I said, in white ball cricket in T20, when it's not your day, it's not your day, and when it is, it was certainly David Lloyd's and Sam Northeast tonight. Great product and a great showing on a sunny Tuesday evening here in Cardiff.
Fionn Wynne, enjoyed your commentary debut then?
I did. What a show.
It's not always like this, can I just say?
I've watched enough to know that it's not always like this, and played enough to know exactly how the Middlesex bowlers are feeling. Martin Anderson, 2.2 overs, 0 for 46. That's tough going. Again, we said Middlesex didn't bowl badly. They didn't disgrace themselves at all. It was just Glamorgan's day, as Nyrin said. T20 goes like that sometimes, but hats off to Sam Northeast and David Lloyd with that record-breaking partnership for Glamorgan, doing the bulk of the damage, and of course to Michael Hogan for his 3 wickets as well to set it up. It'll probably go unnoticed after the batting, but it really set up that victory, because we were all saying that 171 was a good total at the halfway mark, and Glamorgan cruised it in the end.
Some final thoughts from Nyrin?
What can I say? Broken records, a few sixes, a few school kids in, watching some good cricket. I think it's been a great evening and a great showing for the T20 Blast here in Cardiff. Hopefully there'll be a few more back here on Friday, I believe, is their next game, and again, great to see a few good mates of mine, and especially Sam making the jump across the bridge to play a knock like that.
So those thoughts that you gave him over coffee earlier were obviously absolutely key to his stepping up the tempo. I
like to think so. I think his game's really changed since we started becoming friends, so I want to take full credit tonight. But yeah, it was great to be here. Thanks for hosting me, and hopefully I'll be back in the future.
So there it is. Glamorgan move on to face Somerset on Friday evening. Middlesex host Essex at Lords on Thursday evening. Coverage on BBC Sport Online of both those games. Glamorgan victorious by 8 wickets with a record stand of 150 between Sam Northeast and David Lloyd. From Anarin, from Fionn and myself, Nick Webb, a very good evening, North Star.
Thank you very much.